Thanks for taking the time, man. It's been a long month trying to schedule this. It's just the holidays suck, and
Yeah, no worries.
family and everything is tough, and then getting sick or whatever. But yeah, we're really stoked to have you. We've talked about trying to get you on for forever, and we talk about you seemingly every episode, and then we're like, we should probably get Shred on, and it's like, no, like let's we always we're like, no, we're like, we need to, there needs to be a good reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we missed it when your first wheel came out, or you know what it was, it might have been right around the time because you came out to visit, and then I was like, you know what, I just saw him, and it's like it's going to be kind of weird having him on the show, and just like we won't have a lot to talk about, and it's like, all right, well, we'll find another time, and then here we are.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good. So we all got to skate together. What year is it? And so Shred, you actually helped me steer out of a blade crisis because
okay.
in my mind, I thought that the new 1.5 Shadows were going to be the way for me to go, and then you let me try yours,
Yeah.
and I realized that they were not the way for me to go.
What didn't
thank you for that.
what didn't you like about them?
They felt I don't know if something's changing about Power Slide's plastics and their aggressive stuff, but
Yeah.
the UFS to Aeon 80s that I was skating were very, very floppy.
Hmm.
Like they just immediately would, like my ankles would supinate and like bow out. It was like a really, really broken in, almost unusable pair of K2s back in the day. So
Okay.
I either had that or I had like ski boot K2s to skate.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very frustrating. I ended up making it work with the K2s. I still had a great time, but that's what those shadows felt like to me, and it was very disconcerting. But at the same time, I was glad that I didn't have to go back to shadows.
Gotcha.
But I did very much appreciate you letting me try them. So thank
Yeah.
you again.
Yeah, no worries.
Were they the aggressive shadows or were they the Trimax shadows that I had?
I mean, they're the Trimax Shadows, but they had aggressive frames on them. They had wish frames.
I think
Yeah.
there's a difference. Like, there's a different buckle on the
Yeah,
aggressive one or something.
it's a one piece cuff as opposed to the two piece,
Um,
which I
Yeah.
do not like two piece cuffs.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
that would be different.
I hated that even more. Like the 2.0s when they came out, I did dislike that even more than the original shadows. I actually really liked the Damian Wilson ones that I had. I thought for where I was with skating, like that was like the perfect boot for me.
Mhm.
And then I had to try carbons and kind of screwed myself over on that one.
I really had no idea how different each shadow was year after year. Like when they said they were going out of business, I started buying up a whole bunch of used skates just because I thought I'd never be able to get them again.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
should just hit up Jack Cabbage and bought a tub.
I probably did get a few of his stuff, but
Probably did.
but just fooling around with different setups, they all felt so different.
Hmm.
And I never
Interesting.
realized that.
I never skated shadows until the ones that I got recently, which was 6 months ago or whenever they first came out. The
Yeah.
shadows, not the X shadows. And I got it. Like, I got why they were popular. If what you guys are saying is true, that these aren't a really good indication of what a good shadow feels like, okay, but I'm sure it's not too far off. Like, it's still going to
Yeah.
be a floppy mess, which is fine for aggressive and fine for, Dustin Latimer style, like, cess slidey sort of things. But
Mhm.
if you wanted to skate big wheels, which is how mine technically came with the Trimax, I mean, they're ankle breaker skates, in my opinion.
Right, right. Yeah, the one thing I really not feeling with the new ones is the high cuff boot. I really like the old foot wraps way better.
Mm-hmm. I never skated the old foot wraps. Well, I take it back. I did have a pair that Mark Vanderbo sent me that when I was out of blading, I wanted to get back in shape. And it was like 2008, 2009. And he sent me a pair, and I had I don't know if it was the originals or what. They were like the weird brownish kind of whatever brownish blackish tan color
The
shadows.
Latimers.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's them. Yeah, I don't know I'm not versed on my shadow history, but I didn't like them at all, and I don't know. I just couldn't get a good fit, and I don't know if it was because of the foot wrap or because it just never fit perfectly on the boot. Like I was playing a lot of hockey at the time,
Yeah.
so I was expecting, I think, a very different experience putting my foot in the boot, and this was not it.
You're playing ice hockey?
Yeah, it and
Yeah, that's gonna feel way different than an ice hockey skate.
yeah, and at the time I
To
was
say the
skating
least.
hard. Like I was, playing twice a week, and I was
Yeah.
practicing in my garage every night, and I was like, how do I skate more? Because I need to get like I'm not gonna go running, so it's like
Right.
how do I skate more? And I was like, oh, I should get some skates, and I'll hit up my friend who has skates, and I'm like, let's go skate, and it's like, whoa, these aren't skates. Like, what the hell are these? And I couldn't figure out how to put them on and how to tie them up and get them tight. And, you would skate a little bit and then like your foot would start moving around on the base. And like, oh, well,
Hmm.
I got to tighten this and tighten this. I was like, oh my God, like there's just so many parts and so many straps and things that could go wrong that I could never really
Yeah.
get comfortable with them. I actually didn't mind the newer shadows, and it might be because of that high liner. But again, my
Hmm.
expectations were completely different than yours.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe you like the Highliner because it feels closer to a regular skate, which is
Precisely.
why I didn't like them.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But if you're getting
It
a regular
makes
skate, get yourself a regular skate, right? Like the
Right.
whole thing
Exactly.
about getting a shadow is you could just pop and walk into the store and get yourself a soda or whatever.
Well, the whole point was so that it didn't feel like you were wearing skates, and now the high
Right.
cuff is right back to wearing another regular skate.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree that it definitely felt different. Um, but I mean, like I don't know, like Shadows. Maybe it's just where I was in my coming back into blading again, and because Shadows weren't quite available when I left, and then when I came back, I did a bunch of wheeling and dealing, and ended up getting. I think at one point I had like 5 or 6 pair of skates in my house, and I don't really know how the hell that happened, but.
Mm.
But I had a bunch that I just didn't really do anything with, and what really resonated with me was both carbons and shadows, or no, thrones and shadows worked really really well for me.
Hmm.
And once I got rid of those Damian Wilsons, or no, I had Damian Wilson ones and Chris Farmer fours, and once I got rid of both of those, it's just like something changed with what I wanted in skates,
Yeah.
and I can't catch that same shadow goodness feeling anymore. And I don't think even if I could get that same feeling, I don't know if I'd enjoy it anymore.
Yeah. Which one are the Farmer fours? Are they the white ones?
No, those the 4.1s were the white ones. The fours were the ones where he did that weird vampire promo for. They
The
had
vamp. I
the
didn't.
like.
I never saw that.
Oh, it's probably a good thing.
Oh no.
It was kind of weird. Like it wasn't bad, but like if Chris Farmer got really into stage acting and like got into like John Waters type horror film,
Okay.
that's kind of what it was like.
Did the skates have vampires on them?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there were some red highlights in them or something like that. I think maybe some stitching.
Okay.
They had like the black base plate, the black heel plate, and like that weird green but black at the same time toe.
Hmm.
I
I'll
think
have to find him.
the
Came with
great
Create Originals.
the greatest pair I ever owned were the ones with the lemurs on them.
Oh, those are the old Solomon ones then.
Maybe
Right.
they, for some reason, they were the most comfortable in the world, and I had them stolen when I went to go visit a friend in LA.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, we left them in his garage, which he does every day, and they stole my skates but didn't take his.
So it's got a lemur on it.
Yeah, they're like almost like all gray, and then they had like a big striped-tailed lemur thing on them. It was
So
really
crazy.
cool looking. Yeah.
Shadow is just this crazy company that I know nothing about. But looking back
Yeah,
over the years, like it was really the heart of Shadow was when I was gone. And
yeah,
when I came back, it was like the farewell edition. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I missed all of that. They
yeah.
had some crazy setups, like all different colors, all different styles. And then the foot wraps added another dimension where
Right.
they were just
They had some really cool foot wraps, like those
really,
GC Rose, those gray high top sneaker ones.
I think I might have been on hiatus for the Damian Wilson, J.C. Rowe years
hmm.
because I don't remember those skates coming out.
So
Yeah,
when did you come back then? Because for me, you've always been here, but clearly that's not the case.
I think I took a couple of years off, sometime around 2012 ish, and I think I really started skating like a lot in like 2015. I think.
Were you always on Shadows when you came back, or is that a fairly new thing?
Yeah, no, I skated Shadows for like 10 years straight, and
Mm,
before that it was all Razors.
okay.
I just got tired of breaking in skates and having the whole 3 months of blisters thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
What razors were they, like Genesis or?
I think it was before they started doing Genesis. Like I had a bunch of the Shimas, the
Uh,
white. I forget. I don't even know which ones are which, but a lot of Dre Powells, and like I think they had a white team skate that looked like the Powells, which were really cool.
hmm.
But yeah, they all look like the
Yeah.
same as they do now. But
Yeah.
they had like a skin on them. I don't know if they still do that, but
Got it.
they tried to bring them back for a little bit, like the Corey Waikikis and the Scott Quinns.
Hmm.
Aragon's last couple of skates had skins.
yeah, and I don't think I was around for any Aragon skates either.
Huh. Weird.
Like
Well,
I
you're here now, and that's what
I know.
yeah,
That's all we need.
yeah.
We weren't there then either. So you're 100% Shadow. So if you had to put together with all of your parts your perfect Shadow skate, I mean, clearly you wouldn't wear the Eclipse liner. What would like a mix match? A 1.5 cuff,
Yeah,
two-piece sole.
the new one piece cuffs. I mean, soles are the greatest. The one piece cuffs are better than the two piece in my opinion.
Hmm.
I do like the new thicker Velcro that they have now, which was nice. But yeah, I mean, just a pretty basic setup. If I could find those lemurs again, I'd be happy. But
Well, hopefully, if anybody out there has a pair that's willing to
I think
send
they
them
were
over,
like Farmer Twos, maybe. I don't know. But they had
keep
they had
my eyes
little
peeled.
striped tailed lemur on them.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You were also skating those Rossi's Fifth Element UFS-ified skates with the Element 2s though for a bit.
Yep, yep. I was just fooling around with a bunch of stuff,
Okay.
just because it was fun. I think they're a little too small for me lately. I've been wearing them, my feet been going numb in them, but
Mm.
I don't know why it didn't bother me for a while. But now all of a sudden they're too tight.
You know,
I
Frank,
must be growing.
yeah, well, it's another growth spurt.
Have you been eating a lot of salt?
Only salt.
Yes, only salt.
Well, that might do it.
Yeah.
Frank Stoner has that problem too. He is like in between a few different sizes. Like, I don't know which sizes, but he's like,
Yeah.
I can only skate Shadows because everything else just either it doesn't fit right or it fits and then my foot goes numb or there's too much slop and it's like I don't like them, but
Yeah.
they're the skates that fit me, so I end up skating them.
Yeah, they're the old school Fifth Elements, not the new ones. I haven't tried the new ones yet.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know that you'll like the new ones. I did not like the new ones, as most people are aware. I think the sizing is just a real problem. I'm really stoked that they brought them back, though. I mean, it seems like a real smart move since everybody was saying, "Hey, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back," and
Right.
then they
It
do,
sounds
and
like
it's like
a
everyone hates
a
it.
smart move to listen to your audience. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is plating.
Yeah. What didn't you like about them? Just they didn't fit right.
Yeah, the fit was the big thing, and they were really heavy. Like those were the two major complaints that I had. The weight you could kind of get used to, but it was a really heavy skate. And I skated
It's
them at the end with the mushroom blading frames, and those were heavy frames as well. So it was like just heavy on top of heavy, and it was like I just couldn't skate as long. You know, I only skate once a week,
hmm
and I don't play hockey anymore, so it's like my only exercise really, and that's just not enough to get my legs strong enough to skate well. So,
right.
so when I do skate, I need as light of a skate as possible. So they're
It's
probably
weird.
not too heavy, but they were
I
for me.
went I went to a Thorough and tried them on just
Hmm.
because I was contemplating picking up a pair, and I thought they were light compared to, I mean, especially the older Fifth Elements, but I thought they were like a lighter skate. I just One of my buddies skates them, and they like severely warped from just daily use,
Hmm.
and I didn't know if anyone else was having issues with them just bending, almost like a little kid ice skating where your ankles start bending inwards.
Huh. I,
Yeah.
I had that.
Weird.
I had that feeling with my rems, the 2.5s, where you started getting that bend rem like posture,
Yeah.
where your ankle is just all flexed in the side, but
Right.
never
You're in
with my
a
fifths.
right. Yeah. No, he's in like a constant top sole position.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was with my rems. I think with the
Yeah.
fifths, the problem is so ultimately the problem with the sizing is that they designed it around the sole plate,
hmm
and the sole plate was the old Valo sole plate, which always had a skin on it. So
hmm
they designed the shell to have, I don't know, 5 mil extra room
hmm
around the entire like area, the outline of the boot, so that it would fit the sole plate properly. Not taking into
hmm
account that 5 mil is going to add 10 mil of squish all around, and the liners, they're slippery on the bottom, and the bottom
hmm
of the inside of the boot is slippery. So it's like this slippery, like ice skate, sort of like you're walking on ice, and you've got a little bit of room around it, and it's just
hmm
I could literally feel my foot moving around, and they felt fine at the shop. But your
hmm
foot just moves around inside the boot. And I heard that you could downsize them, and I'm sure that I could, but I was over it by then. I'm like, if I'm at the upper end of the sizing, which was the
hmm
9 to 10.5, and I wear a 10.5, I got the 10.5. If you're saying I should go down to a 7/8, like
hmm
you lost me. Like that's way too much of a distance to
I think
downsize.
that might be one of rollerblading's biggest problems is just not having the accurate sizings.
Well,
Like,
especially
um,
now, right? Because nobody has a skate shop.
right. And you
Yeah,
just have to
there's
guess if it's
Yeah,
going to be true to size or too small or
yeah.
whatever.
And then what? You
yeah,
send it back. You're like, all right, well, here's $20 to send the skates back. Send me another pair, and it's like, oh well, that fits better, but now I'm out, 40
And
extra bucks.
you don't really know till you skate them, and then by then you can't return them.
Totally.
yeah. I when the V13s first dropped, the gray ones, that happened right when we moved back to New Jersey, and I was going to the Philly skate park a lot. Was at Payne's Plaza,
Hmm.
and I just decided that I was going to deal with those, and they were just too narrow. And had I known, or had I had a shop that I could have gone to, because where we were, like it was like a 4 hour drive to Thorough, like a
hmm
9.5 hour drive down to Oak City.
Hmm.
So and a plane, to fucking Roller Warehouse, it just wouldn't make any sense. So I just kind of like, all right, well, let's get what we can, and then when the time came where I just couldn't deal with them, I ended up selling the V13s,
hmm
and 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 then it was just in a whirlwind of skate crisis for like 3.5 years until Aeons launched.
Hmm.
Like there used to be this whole standard of skate and sizing, and
Yeah.
then everybody went their own way. So Rosie's has their own thing, which good luck. And then Razors basically seems to have stuck to what they knew,
Hmm.
since the 2000s, which is great. USD changed like 4 or 5 times, and then now we have them. Who else are we missing? K2 is the same as they always have been. Rollerblade's the same as they always have been.
Seba's a little weird. They're a little tight. I
Yeah,
think they
Seba is a
size
little weird.
a little tighter than normal. Yeah, I agree. I think it's again it's a weird world that we live in now because not everybody has a skate shop near us. And like Shred was saying, even if you do get the right size, as soon as you go out and skate with them, it's going to open up a little bit. And then it's like, well, all right, I guess I'm stuck with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can get crown liners and shove a big fat liner in there that will soak up some of the space inside. But I mean, that's why people always downsize and use the Intuition. That's probably why Intuition is so popular now. Because people are figured it out. They're like, okay, I need the tightest shell possible that I could fit my foot in. And I'll put these Intuitions in and, stubbing my toe be damned. I'll just get something that fits and at least I can skate.
That doesn't sound fun to me.
Oh, it sucks. And that's why I end up testing all these different skates. And I always buy my size. Like I always get the 28.5, whatever's listed at. And even Long warned me that these fifths would be too big for me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, they told me 28.5. It says 28.5 on the liner. It says 28.5 on the shell. Like, that's my size. If I were, Joe Schmo on the internet buying a pair of skates from Roller Warehouse, he would probably buy the 28.5. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's what, my audience at least wants to know because they don't have any expectations that I'm going to skate well. They just want to know that, these skates fit the way that they should. They grind fine, like they don't give me blisters, whatever.
It's pretty admirable that you'll
take
buy
one for the team.
Take one for the team.
Well, I do. So I do have a Patreon. So the Patreon definitely helps with the podcast, but I also use some of the funds to buy skates so that I can review them. So I have that income, and then I have the YouTube income. And between those two, I can afford a pair of skates every couple of months. So I'm able to reinvest into the channel and have more things to talk about on the podcast and more videos to make. And I usually try to stick with the skates for a month. I couldn't make it 3 weeks with the REMs. They just hurt my feet too much. Like I was walking away with blisters every time after 30 minutes, and I was giving up. So that's the only skate that's beaten me. Every other skate, even the K2s that I hated, they were okay. So yeah, it sucks, but I mean, I'm not in this for getting better. And people on the YouTube always say, if you stuck with the same skate, you probably get better. I'm like, yeah, dude, like I know that. Like,
Yeah, but then my channel has no more credibility.
Right. I mean, well, and I think that I'm going to run out of skates soon enough, right? I mean, they aren't making skates fast enough for me to test everything, and I'm not going to just test the color technology, Like
Well,
I want
to. You could go back through the list and get the correct sizes.
There you go. Get the latest build of the skate. I did get. Yeah. I skated the SL. The SL is the only one that I got the second time. So the SLs were the first skates that I got. But that was so long ago, like 3 years ago, that I never really gave them a review because I didn't know what I was reviewing. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And now coming back to it, it was like, oh, like these are actually pretty good skates. Like I can't believe that I went all this time without skating them, and then I ended up like the SLs are in my top 5. They're a great skate if you get a good liner. Like the generic SL liner is really, really cheap. But if you upgrade it to like a Rain V3 or something, you're good to go. All right, so how do you want to get into this? So,
well, actually, can we just insert here in the very beginning?
Yeah.
Can we throw out a rest in peace for Aaron Etzminger?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So I skated with Pinky a couple times when I was stationed out in San Diego. He was a great guy. Always had a huge smile on his face. Was like the original blade tinkerer. And I watched him roll away doing an acid drop on the Leap of Faith, like twice. So he stepped over the rail and dropped off of it and then landed it and rolled away. So on one of those, he broke his axle and then had to change it out and everything like that. And he wasn't able to roll away from actually jumping over the rail. But
Hmm.
um, I tell that story anytime someone brings up someone jumping over something big, and they know what the leap of faith is. I always tell them about it. And it was a real shock the other day to see that. And his mom has been posting a lot of his old pictures, like of him like growing up and everything like that, and a couple of them skating and everything. And there seems to be a real outpouring of positivity and love for him. It seems like he was on a good path, and then just something happened.
Yeah.
So gonna miss you, Pinky. Love you, bud.
Yeah, it sucks. I didn't know him. I met him a couple of times. He came by the Monarchy warehouse, a few times, and he actually, I think he was maybe not close with Jess, but he went shooting with Jess one day, or at least he knew Jess pretty well. And he got the only pair, and Shred, you'll love this. He got the only pair of pink 50/50 frames that we ever made. So there was a time when pre-UFS we were making these. I don't know what relationship we had with the manufacturer, but somehow they were just down to do anything that we asked them to do. I think because we had so much, like they were a brand new like manufacturing company, maybe 10 years old or whatever. So maybe not brand new, but they were really starting to get into the inline skating thing, and we were keeping them pretty busy, and they made us samples in all different shapes and colors, like anything that we asked for. They were like, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, we'll do that. So Jess, always with the mind for colors and style and stuff, would come up with these crazy color combinations, and they would make them. And the one that he really wanted to see was pink, because he knew that there wasn't a big market for it,
Mm-hmm.
but he knew that it was a cool, like, somebody's going to love these frames. It would be cool to have, even just as a marketing, gimmick sort of thing, to have a pink frame. And they came in, and neither of us wanted to skate them. Nobody on the team wanted to skate them because they were like, all right, well, there you go. And this was before, like, pink was cool. I don't know if it was ever. There was definitely a time when it was cool, like the Ollie short sort of years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't cool in rollerblading. I think we were still trying to be like,
Straight.
yeah, hard. Well, you do you. This is the guy with the pink wheel.
No, I'm just
But
saying, like back then, everyone was
back
like,
then,
you know,
yes,
yeah, super. No, no, I'm not like that.
yeah,
But
pink. I would
yeah,
never wear pink. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think people are more comfortable. We were young kids, like we didn't know any better, and we were thrown into the limelight as this up and coming sport, versus BMX and versus skateboarding, who hated us because they'd been there for 20, 30 years working hard to get to where they were. And here we were like, hey guys, we're cool too. The last thing that we wanted to do was wear pink.
right.
That wouldn't have gone over well. Like it was all, you know, grungy, hip hoppy, like baggy pants and baggy shirts and stuff. So nobody wanted to skate the frames, and then Pinky saw them, and he was like, "Oh my god, I need those!" And he got the pair. I don't know if he ever skated them or if they ended up in a closet somewhere, but it was cool that somebody appreciated the pink frames.
Yeah. Did he have pink hair? Is it my? I don't
He
really
didn't.
know who he was, but I remember seeing some old videos that I swear there was a guy named Pinky
Hmm.
and he had pink hair. I don't know if it's the same guy or not.
He may have at one point.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense that he would have, but
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. I think there were a lot of pinkies out there, but skating pinkies, that's the only one that I know of. So it was
yeah,
probably him.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah. It's all
sucks. We
yeah.
lost a few people this year. I can't think of any names. Nobody that I knew that I can think of
Mm.
directly, but I guess we're kind of at that age where, like we're all in our 30s and 40s or whatever, and like this is when people just randomly wake up and they don't wake up. And it's like, what's happening? I had a friend who died of a heart attack overnight. He was 40. And it's like, dude, that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Like, you're just a 40-year-old person. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's tough getting old, you know? Like,
Yeah.
all the more reason, skate as much as you can, eat healthy, like, take care of yourself, like, make every day count, because you never know. You never know how long you've got.
Mm.
Deep.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know where to go from there.
Yeah. So yeah, let's lighten it up a little bit. And I'm sorry for
Yeah.
bringing it down,
No, no,
but
dude, it wasn't down. It wasn't down at all. I
all right,
appreciate you bringing it up.
I think good. I'm glad. I wanted to get it out of the way. I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget it.
No, no.
So so all right. What about let's start with videos.
Okay.
I think we have a pretty decent list of some highs here.
Yeah.
Who here saw Independent?
Sure.
I did.
I did
I
not
didn't
buy it.
really.
I saw it when it came out on the YouTube. I don't know why I didn't buy it. I usually buy every video, unless I bought it and I forgot about it.
Sounds personal.
Well, I buy so many videos. Like whenever a video comes out, I'm just like, sure. Like here, like again, it's same goes with the
Take my
Patreon.
$7.
Yeah, same goes with the Patreon. It's like if I can support somebody who's working hard in blading, and
Hmm.
just stoke them out to get a coffee or like help them pay for their cell phone for the month. It's like sure, like you spent a lot of time putting this together. This one's special because Independent, if I remember correctly, was the video that came out right after John introduced the 909. And the
Hmm.
sales of Independent helped. Like there was Independent, and then there was the package with the T-shirt, and then there was
Hmm.
like a long sleeve, right? Was there like
Right.
some other skate something with it, or
There, I don't remember. I did support just because of that, but I just bought the video. I didn't go
yeah?
all out. So
I know there were packages, and again, it was just a money like rather than doing a GoFundMe, it was like, hey,
right,
we're trying to raise money so that we can do this thing. Like,
right.
it in case people didn't know the backstory, you can listen to John on the Jump Street podcast talk about the 909. The 909 is the new skate that he's designing in collaboration with Kyle Sola and the team. They are doing their own thing. So the them company launched last year, 2018, and they had the 908. And the 908 was an open mold that he made a modification to, like a little insert, to make the look his own. So he removed some of the shiny and some of the weird stuff of the open mold, and he made his own sole plate. And he got that whole thing so that it looked like a completely different skate. It was based on the old Sabotage skate, which
Hmm.
wasn't a great skate and has a really bad taste in people's mouths. But if you looked at the 909 or the 908, you could see the skate, but it was far enough away from it to know that it was a different skate than the Sabotage. It wasn't the Sabotage. What's weird
Agreed.
is the company that he was working with apparently let another company use the mold for his sole plate, and that isn't cool. Like, like
Yeah.
you buy something and you say, I'm going to invest money so that I can make this thing, and then somebody uses it when you're not there, and I guess a shop saw it at ISPO, which is one of the big trade shows,
Hmm.
and it was like, what? Like, can you imagine? Like, somebody sending you a picture of your product in a colorway that's horrible, with like
Hey,
the.
hey, hey, hey,
I
hey, hey. I
mean,
don't know. I don't know
I.
if red was horrible.
It's
I mean,
well, it's not a
they were
tasteful colorway. I'll just say that.
they were gutsy colors.
Gutsy colors. There you go. Yeah, it was very off-brand. Like the them was white and black, and by then wasn't the Darst out, but I don't think the Broscow was out yet. Maybe it was like right around the time when the Broscow came out. But they were very muted, like very like
Not flashy colors.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like very chill colors, and then boom, here's red in your face with some writing on the side, and it's like, what the hell is this? So I can only
Neon
imagine.
everything.
Yeah, it's just very out of brand, and I can only imagine that
Yeah.
conversation that John had with the company, where it's like, what the f are you guys doing? Like, this is my thing. Like, we had an agreement. You screwed me. So as a result, he continued to do production this year. And he had a few different skates. He had the U1, which is the skinned version of the 908, and then he had a blue 908, which is the blue 908. I think it's just called the blue 908. And those came out in like October or something like that, fall, end of summer, fall. But at the same time, as those came out, he announced that he was starting his own mold for the 909. This is going to be completely separate from the 908. I don't know if it's the same manufacturer, the same mold maker, the same factory. I don't know anything about the logistics, but I know that it's 100% his, and with Kyle obviously working with him, and nobody else can use that mold. And that's huge. And that is why Independent was such a big deal. You get to see some early video of the samples of the 909 skate, of the shell when they were testing it and they were coming up with what the design was going to look like and having the 3D models and the 3D samples. And it's crazy to think that John is now a legit, like, not that he wasn't before, but he's like a legit, like, he owns a mold. Like, he owns a frame, he owns a sole plate. I don't know if he owns the liner. I don't know if anybody owns a liner. I think everybody gets their liners done from a third party. But it's as close to having his own skate as any skater has ever come that I know of. I'm pretty excited about it. I think the 909 is going to be huge.
Well, there's a couple companies that did some handmade stuff, and not the people that you're thinking of.
That's absolutely true. So, and I would say Adapt definitely is one of them. They are.
That's not who I was talking about, by the way.
Well, so Adapt is the first that comes to mind. They are definitely on that list. I think it's different because the Adapt to me is a very artisanal style skate. I absolutely love my Adapts, but they're not mainstream. They're not going to be in skate shops. They're not like mass produced or anything like that. They're handmade. I mean, they even say it on the skate. Like, it's not using machines to mass produce the shells or anything like that. But I will give you, and I know Peter and Olga are both skaters. They both skate. So definitely they're on that list. Who were you thinking of?
Shred, do you know who I'm talking about?
No
or
idea.
who I'm alluding to? Okay. So it's a couple of guys from North Carolina.
Are we talking about Oso?
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Did they have a shell, though? I thought the shell was a Colt.
No, they had their own soul, or their own thing they made. Mark Vanderbo was making the soles for him. It was very crude. Like, here's a basic shape, and here's a basic radius for your backslide, and they're like, perfect. Here's $60 per or whatever it was going to end up being for manufacturing. And they were hand cutting like ABS plastic for their shells, and they were sourcing Truss Spec Ops liners. They weren't expensive either. I think they were like $200 at the most, and they were the most function forward skates that probably were ever made. I think they made like 2 or 3 different versions of them too, but really there was only one that really went anywhere. Someone had a pair of them for sale in Blade Trade, but they were asking like $250 for them, with a ridiculous markup, and like $45 for shipping.
Yeah.
Because it was right when Trust went away, and people were still looking for those liners, and it was a brand new size 9, liner that was in there. So people were just like, "Oh god, I gotta have that liner." Like, It wasn't that great, guys. It really wasn't.
I remember you mentioned them, and I looked at them in the past. I remember you talking about Oso. I didn't know what the shell was. I assumed that they were the same as like an SSM or a NIM or a Colt, where they were just that open source, or the Impala. They were just that open source shell that they were getting imported, and they were making a skin for it.
That would have been pretty neat too, though. They may have lasted a little bit longer, but I think their cost would have been a little too high to make that feasible.
Probably right. Did you ever skate 908s, Shred?
I did not.
You have not?
I bought a pair of the first runs, and I painted them, and then I ended up donating them to help with the Robert Guerrero incident.
I remember that.
So I never actually skated them. I've been playing with the idea of grabbing some blues, but I keep going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I want to support,
it's gonna
but
clash with your suit.
Yeah.
right. Well, that's why I've been going back and forth.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I really like the way they look, but I just I don't know if I'm gonna end up liking them because I'm not a big boot guy. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great looking boot. It might fit you all right. Like if your shadows fit you the same way they fit me,
mm-hmm.
you might be in between shell sizes like I am.
Yeah, I think.
What shell Aeons do you skate? Do you skate the 7.5, 8?
No, you got the 8.9s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
It's disappointed you greatly.
well, because they have so the shell that fits kind of like the 8.9 Thrones did is the 7.5, 8, which is like I think they're called the 41, 42, and then the next one is the 910, which is what I first bought, and made the mistake of doing that because they were way too big.
Are they the medium boot?
Yeah, are you talking about the Aeons, Ben? Or are you talking about the? Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about them
Oh,
skates.
sorry. Yeah, I meant Aeons. My bad.
You probably said that, but I thought that's what you were comparing the thems to, so I wasn't sure.
I roundabout was. I was saying like if the 7.8 Aeons fit you, then the smalls might fit you okay, but they still might be a little small. They're too small for me, and
Yeah.
I wear like a Nike 9.5.
Yeah,
So.
I think I would need a medium, but I've been just skating my Aeons.
They are
solid choice.
I was going to say that's a solid choice. Did you see how many Aeons they came out with this year?
Yeah,
Like 6.
I'm not a fan of the soft boot look.
That was a weird one, right? I don't think anybody was expecting that.
Well, I mean, if they made an all black one, it'd be sweet, but I don't like the new colored ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, no, those are hideous.
Yeah,
I think it's weird. So I think that the Aeon has been a runaway success this year, especially.
Yeah.
I think that they're an amazing skate. And whenever anybody, I'm not taking credit for it, but whenever anybody asks what skates to get, I always recommend the Aeon 60. And the reason is that you take the skate out of the box and you skate.
Right.
Like there's no fiddly UFS, there's no, sizing issues. It's like they're fairly true to size. They come out of the box flat and they feel great when you're skating them. And they'll do all the tricks. They're not amazing for anything, but they're totally passable for everything.
Right.
I think that USD probably underestimated the popularity this year. And they're selling through. It's not like they have. I would assume, I don't know the skate shop's inventory, but I would assume that they're selling through pretty quickly. So it's not like they have, I think there were 6 Aeon 60s that were released this year. It's not like they have all of those 6 in every skate shop, like boxes and boxes of them. I feel like they're selling pretty quickly. Like maybe they're doing whatever their normal run is, 1,000 pair or 2,000 pair or whatever the numbers are. And they're like, all right, we sold through. What's next? All right, we sold through. What's next? And it's like everybody gets an Aeon this year, Like Sam got an Aeon, Richie got an Aeon. Who else got an Aeon?
Takeshi should get an Aeon.
Takeshi should get an Aeon. I think Takeshi should get an Aeon 80 though. I would love to see him get an Aeon 80.
He should get one of every Aeon model.
He, he was skating the 80s with 76s, right? Or no,
I think so.
He was skating the 72s with 68s. Is that right?
Yeah, and he was also skating 60s with 64 55s.
64 55s.
He was skating like a real weird anti-rocker.
That's weird.
It's fucking Takeshi Yasutoko.
Yeah, let him do his thing. I won't talk to him about it. He's amazing. I think slowly but surely they are. So vert has definitely died in the popular blading, like sharing. Like you don't see vert clips. You don't see anybody skating vert anymore.
If you do, it's Takeshi.
Precisely, yeah. And then
Basically.
Takeshi rolls up, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot we had that." And it's like, boom, like grabbing the rafters and like
Yeah.
crazy Viking flips, and you're like, "This isn't like he's in his own world." I don't know what a. I mean, I guess an Aeon would be the perfect skate, right? I mean, it's solid, it's fast, it's low profile, it's got a big old groove. I mean, what else is there to like? Flat. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great skate.
So yeah, a ton of Aeons this year. The what other? So the Aeons, the USD Shadows came out, which was interesting. We talked a little bit about that earlier, but the Shadows in two varieties: the Trimax one, and the what is it called? The 64,
57.
57. That's right, some number, prime number. The 57. Is there another one coming out? I haven't seen any hints around that. But is that a one and done, or are they going to do something special in 2020? You guys think?
I imagine we'll probably see another colorway of each size. We'll probably see a white one with the 2.0 cuff, a black one with the 1.0 cuff, and we won't see anything else until 2021. That's my guess. Because I don't think it's been as popular as they hoped it would.
Yeah.
So I think they'll still have it available for the people that like it, but they won't produce it like they produce Aeons.
Eclipse liner, or is it going to go back to the footbed or the foot wraps?
What do you think, Shred?
What they will do is probably keep it. What they should do, it might be go back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah, they've already made the investment.
it's going to
Right.
become the USD version of the REMs, where it's like one every 2 years, colorway, limited quantities. Put it out there just to keep people happy that want to skate them and are running low on parts. But really, that's about it. I can't see them investing a ton in it, even though I did enjoy skating them and I felt like I skated really well in them. I think it's a very niche skate. And unfortunately, if they continue to use the Eclipse liner, it's even more niche. The amount of people that want shoes that turn into skates are small, let alone shoes that nobody wants to walk around in.
right.
Well, I mean, the foot wraps weren't exactly high fashion to begin with, so
Yeah.
I thought the older ones were a little nicer, like the
like the old basic ones.
yeah, the Latimers, and then the first farmer ones were nice, and then they started doing all this weird stuff.
Ninja slippers.
Yeah, I really like the ninja slippers.
I just liked making fun of them.
Yeah.
Well after the fact they were no longer available. Like I would make fun of them because they were a polarizing aesthetic.
Mhm.
But I mean, if it worked well, it worked well. I couldn't bitch about it. I hadn't even skated Shadows at the time when I was talking trash. So
Right. It was almost actually better when they didn't have the laces on them because there were no pressure points.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like lace up liners. I think that it's unnecessary. I think if you're already lacing your shell should be that thing that sucks your foot in, and the liner should just be the padding that your foot slides into. I've skated what was that? Whatever that rollerblade was. It wasn't the Solo, was it? Yeah, it might have been the Solo. That might have came with the blank liners. And there was just I looked down and it's just like this lace spaghetti, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I don't even know I don't know what I'm doing right now. So I had to swap out the laces for the outside laces so that I could distinguish between the laces that I do first and the laces that I do second. I think a liner, like you were saying, that a foot wrap or whatever, that you just slide your foot in and then tie it up. Shell should cinch in, or your buckle system should cinch in, and it just keeps that foot secure in the base. That's why I love the Adapt. It is just the base with a really nice, comfy top part that you just tie up like a shoe, and it feels amazing. I mean, that's the way that I think skates should be. I understand why they can't all be like that, but
Hmm.
yeah.
I do like having the tie, especially like on the intuition, only because I can't stand when a tongue twists.
Oh yeah,
That's the one thing that you need the laces for, in my opinion. But
yeah. Absolutely agree with that. My
yeah,
SLs, the tongue was just all over the place. It was
yeah,
digging down in, it was twisting around. I was like, oh man, I thought we solved this. Like that was
right.
reminiscent of my old rollerblade TRS before the tarmac, like the
Hmm.
original TRS. Where it's just
Oh my
like,
god.
guys, like this liner technology is 30 years old. Like, do something better. Like, I don't know that laces is the right thing, but the way that Powerside gets around it with the MyFit stuff is they have the liner, like, it doesn't go all the way down to the toe. Like, the
Hmm.
tongue doesn't go down to the toe, it goes like halfway up. So there's
Hmm.
still enough room for your foot to slide in, but then the tongue kind of starts halfway up your foot and it
Hmm.
doesn't slide down. I don't know about the twisting thing, but I haven't had much problem with any MyFit liners twisting.
Yeah, I think they don't have like any harder plastic in them, so
Hmm.
I don't think they are. They don't like warp. You know,
Hmm. You skated the Intuition. Do you have a pair of Intuitions?
I do. Yes, I love them.
You love them?
Yes.
I borrowed Steve's and they were the wrong size, so they were a little big for me. I can
Hmm.
appreciate the build quality, but I don't know enough about them to have an opinion yet.
Hmm. Yeah, they. I had to take the ankle padding off it, like the outer Velcro padding they have,
Okay.
and because it was too tight with that. But it was just in the Aeon that I was using.
Got it.
Um, but I'm sure there are some skates that are a little flimsier that might need that stuff, but they fit really well without it,
Are
in
they
my
the
opinion.
V1s or the V2s?
I think they're the twos. They
Yeah.
have the yellow on them.
Okay.
Do they have the big grommets for the laces or the little grommets for the laces?
They're big ones.
Yeah, that's the V2.
Yeah.
I do need to get a pair. I think I'm planning on getting the 909s with the Intuitions if I can find them. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know how many. I mean, I know they're sold out on the Them Good site. I don't know how many are going to be available, but there were plenty of the U1s with Intuitions and the navy or the blue with the Intuitions. So I
Hmm.
feel like there's going to be inventory when I save up money for it in February or so.
I heard some people saying the blue ones are different. They're like a little more like cardboardy, I guess.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if I can verify that, but that's what
Yeah,
it sounded
yeah.
like. Some people were saying that they felt like it was a maybe thicker or something like that.
So
But
it's a different liner than the V1 or V2 that you would get.
that's what it sounds like. But yeah, I haven't tried them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see the Seba or the FR shell that has the Intuition liner with the
Hmm.
silver cuff
Hmm.
without the removable, it's that same thing. So it is a little bit more. There's a little bit more volume in it, because it's not intended to be shoved into a Seba.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But still got Intuition foam in it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still legit.
So long as it
Yeah,
feels good. I mean, it's just an expensive commitment if it's not earth
Yeah,
shattering. You know what I mean?
right.
it's a great liner. Like I've loved every single time I've put my foot into them. I've loved them, but it's just the same thing. It's just expensive.
Yeah.
I think I did like when I was thinking about buying them, I was like, they're $200.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of boot skates in general. These things better be worth it. And
Hmm.
I ended up loving them. And then when I'm reading that they might have been changed on the new ones, that like, that's the same thing with the shadows. When you get something that's different and then it's not the same comfort level as you're used to, you just get disappointed. So
Totally.
Yeah.
it just kind of it's I was thinking about getting them, and then I was reading today, I think some people were saying they felt different, so I was like, oh boy, they changed them up again.
Yeah. So those are available in two of the Them 908s. They're in the U1, which is the skinned 908, and they're
Yep.
in the blue. They're also
Yep.
coming in the 909s, which are available in March. I heard
Mm.
spring now. I don't know what the difference is, but it's probably March. Um, and those will be available in black and gray. The liners that are going to be available in the 909s are a different color, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same build as the
Hmm.
blue ones. And what's that price? Is it 300 for the boot only with the Intuition for the navies or for the blues?
For the blues, yes, which is actually I think a really good deal. But
Yeah, it's not bad.
yeah,
Of course, assuming that the Intuition liner that you get is comparable to the $200
right.
Intuition liner that you would buy, right?
Hmm. I think.
I would.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I would venture to say it's on par.
Yeah.
It probably is a little different, and people are a little freaked out because they're so expensive. But
Yeah. With $300 boot only, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's not astronomical. I mean, you add $50 for whatever, and you're at a 350 complete.
Hmm.
yeah, but when you consider what you're getting,
Yeah.
Right.
so the FR skate that I was talking about is the FR1 Deluxe.
Yeah. It's a
So
really
that has the
pretty,
same
pretty
basic
skate.
liner.
I wish more skates came with Intuition liners, so it wasn't this weird like unicorn. I guess it's just kind of getting to that point. I mean, back in even a couple years ago, Intuition liners weren't a thing. Like the shop task guys really were, and the mushroom blading guys were the champions of the Intuition liner, saying, "Hey, these are good. Like, we don't need the bulky rollerblading liners. Let's downsize and get our Sebas." Or I bet they were writing Intuitions in other skates too before the Sebas, and they were like, "Hey, we got to try this because it's a really solid liner. Why can't we use them in rollerblades?"
Yeah, they've been around. Intuition's been around for a long time. I know my
Mm-hmm.
mom used them in her ski boots back in the
Okay,
day.
interesting. I'd never heard of them. I always thought that they were the shop in Bakersfield. When I came back, I was like, "There goes Matt." I mean, Mick's doing his thing. It's like,
Balling the
nope,
fuck out.
nope, wrong Intuition. But anyway, I was just gonna say that it's awesome to see that they're finally in an aggressive boot. Like it didn't take long, and technically, I guess you could say that the mushroom blading Seba is, or the wizard Seba is a intuition in a Seba, but technically not aggressive. It's a wizarding, and technically it's probably not like a skew. I think it's only available at Shop Task, so they're probably just putting them together themselves, getting paddingless, empty shell Sebas, and then putting the liners in them. But really interesting time that we're in now with so much new technology and comfort. You wouldn't have thought, comfort is so important. It used to be, how can we skate faster and how can we grind better? And now it's like, how can we skate longer?
Mm.
How can we
Yeah.
avoid back pain, knees hurting?
I was gonna say it's almost like
Yeah.
everybody's getting old.
Yeah, who would have thought our interests have changed from gaps to just getting up in the morning?
I just want to survive.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know how much you skated, Ben, at what year is it? We were together most of the day, and I know that we took a lot of breaks. But did you see Shred's, what was that silly video? What's it called?
The jokes.
The jokes, yes.
Silly
It
video.
was-
Well, I mean,
it
it
was
is called the jokes.
Yes.
Amazing video. First of all, I absolutely commend you for that. I've been complaining for so long that there's no skaters doing what I want them to do with video. And it's just a totally selfish thing, but it's like I'm
Yeah.
not I'm a dad who's stuck at home. Like I don't get to go on these cool adventures. I've got
Right.
kids, I got commitments. Totally want to live vicariously through these pro skaters. And when I see these Winter Clash edits, all that I see are the hammers that you're going to see in Instagram over and over and over again. Like,
Right.
I want to see, and I think Nils Janssens gets huge credit for being one of the more active skaters on YouTube and the socials. I think Richie Eisler did it for a long time. I think Chris Haffey did it for a while before them. But like, there is there is something about storytelling, and there's something really missing in modern videos. Like if you look at Independent, the video that we started talking about, it's not a skate video. It's a John talking about, the future of them and the future of him, and like, this is what I'm all about. I'm going independent. Like, that's where the name came from, right? This is what I want to do. Your video was allowing me to live vicariously for an hour an hour through your experience, and I absolutely love it. I think that more people need to do videos like that. I don't think they can. I think that you have a very unique, like, I was going to say gift, but I don't know if gift is the right word.
Took it right back.
I took it right back. I don't know if it's a gift. I think it's just you know how to make videos that people like, and like you've got the and I'll stop being nice to you soon, but like you've got the balance of like being personable, but also having talent that you can kind of back it up. Like I feel like I can get halfway through the personable thing. Like my personality is fine in video. I'm not camera shy, and I've done enough videos now where I'm very comfortable around it and talking in front of people, even though people are looking at me while I'm talking to the camera.
Right.
And it's like
it's
it's
definitely
hard.
a weird thing.
It's totally hard. I mean, you saw me when we were in Durham, trying to ignore you, and it's like you've got to get in the zone. And I'm really good at that now, but I still don't have that charismatic personality that you do. Add to that, nobody wants to see me skate. You know what I mean? Like they're cheering me on. I think Al Delega said it nice when we had him on the show, and he was like, I was watching your YouTube this morning and I saw you do a switch sole. And I was like, yeah, like he pulled a switch sole. I'm like, that means a lot to me, because I work really hard on these tricks that might come really easy for a lot of the people who are listening to the show, or a lot of people that watch my channel. But it's like, they're hard for me. And I bet they're hard for a lot of people. But I think it takes commitment to the channel and like a relationship with the skater to put up with a lot of bullshit like me falling down trying to do a top sole for 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like nobody wants to watch that unless they're like invested in me. And it's taken me 3 years to get to the point where people are interested in me. You have the charismatic side, but you also have good skating. And you have a cool group of friends. So it's like, it was an amazing video. So anyway, if you haven't seen it yet, The Jokes is on the YouTube. It's doing pretty well, I think. A lot of people are watching it. Is that your most popular video, or do you have any that are more popular?
I think. Well, first of all, thanks for everything you just said. It does mean a lot. I'm trying to just pull up my list here.
I know that it's one of your more popular.
It's definitely in the last few that I've posted. It has way more. It's just over 2,000 views.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, my average is pretty low compared to that. I think the only other video with more is the very first video I put out, which was for One Mag like 3 years ago.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, everything else is usually around 500 or less.
Sure.
But no, I appreciate it, and you helped me with some pointers on posting that and stuff. But it was fun to make. It really was a decision to do it as like a, through my eyes type of thing, just because there was so much content and I just did not know how to edit it. So I was like, I'll just go chronologically and I'll just put in what I think is funny, and then when that 2-hour video is done, I'll edit that down to an hour and a half, and then I'll watch it again and I'll edit it down. And the lowest I could get was around an hour without severely cutting out like each section. But I thought it was, I'm biased. I thought it was fun, but
it was great. I commend you for, and the reason why I brought it up is, I cannot skate as long as you do. Like, I can do an hour, and that's about it. And I really have to take a break after that. And I know that you skate more often than I do, and you're in better shape than I am and everything else. But that was a long-ass day. And you guys hit just about every single park there was at Woodward.
Yeah. No, I definitely did not skate enough coming up to that weekend, which I usually try to do, is like just skate a bunch beforehand. But I was just like trying to stay busy with work for the first the last couple weeks. So I really didn't skate at all before Woodward, and then I skated all weekend, like all day, and it just killed me. But I had other people to film that helped break up my skating enough that it was not too bad. But
That's true.
and skating for a tree. I don't know if you saw that video yet.
Yeah, no, of course.
Skating for him was probably the most work because I just could not let it go that I couldn't do this trick.
Well, have you seen it? Have you seen it, Ben?
Yeah, I saw you destroy your hip.
Yeah,
Trying
over
to-
and
Yeah, I
over
mean-
and over and over.
That stupid fat rail.
Yeah, that thing actually, I wasn't, the only thing that was hurting were my feet. Those skates were like 2 sizes too small for me.
That stinks.
My body was fine. It was my toes. It was terrible.
Oh,
But yeah, now that was after a whole day of skating, and then I was like, I've been trying to meet up with Tree all weekend. It was like the end of Saturday, so I was like, let's go do it. And I failed
Jeez.
miserably.
I think it came out great. I don't have any. I've never tried doing any tricks. First of all, on a fat rail like that, I don't think I could do many tricks to begin with. Like, it's a groove trick sort of thing. Doing anything sole or topside would be a non-starter for me. But I
Yeah.
guess because you had those 110s, you had a big landing area, so you were able to get down a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude, that was a great video. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you, again, I'll put all the links are in the show notes. If you haven't seen or subscribed to Tree's videos, you definitely have to. He takes skating very differently than either of us. Like, I think you have your Wayne's World thing, which is a produced show, right?
Yeah, in quotation marks.
Yeah,
produced.
produced. I was going to say quotation marks show, but yeah, same.
Yeah,
Same thing.
quotation marks all around.
We love you, Shred. But there's not a lot of content out that is doing blading, but in a different light. Like, my videos are vlog style. Here's me at the skate park today, or it's reviewing a skate, and they're very matter of fact. And you don't see me doing, or we do the blading community stuff. Like, that's my channel. Your channel is kind of all over the place. Like, you never know what you're going to get. And I think that's great. You have the trip vlogs, you have any of the events that you go to, you have, the Wayne's World thing. Tree is very different. Like, he has that whole series about Will It Grind, where I guess this was where you were the guest star trying to grind on the Flying Eagles.
I'm still pissed that I didn't come up with this idea. It's so great.
It's so great. It's so great. I'm trying to find the words. Like,
Yeah.
part of me is like, in a lot of ways, you're making a mockery of skating. But part of me is like, if you can't laugh at yourself, why are you, like, don't take yourself so seriously. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about me or Try?
Try. Like, he doing with those kid skates is the biggest one. Like, doing the Soyal with the kids, like, walk-in skate things. It's just incredible to see. I don't know how he skates the way that he does, but being able to do all of the tricks that I can't do with the most random skates is really impressive. And the fact that he edits them to this point where it's this comedy. Like, the one that you are in is, I'm sure you had no idea he was going to do any of what he did.
No, I didn't.
But it was
And that
ridiculous.
really, it saved it. Like, it's not a good video without that stuff.
No, I will agree with that. I mean, the concept isn't great. It's like you doing tricks and people coming up and talking to you, and then him being very like, oh, I guess you can do it. Oh, maybe you can't. But he's not like talking or anything. He's just like
Right.
commentary on the side. but he makes it into this event. It's like this. Is it like a 10-minute video? It's like a
I
seriously
think
long video too.
I think it's like 17 minutes, and
It's a long video.
that's why without any of the animation, people would be like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" and turn it off. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. He had me laughing at stuff
Oh, yeah.
I said just by the animation he put with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah, a lot of the animation stuff is what saved that video for me. As anyone that's listened to this podcast knows, I very much believe in the right tool for the job. So while I was infuriated by the concept, I was also intrigued.
Mm.
So I would pay attention until I started to see red, and then I would stop watching. But I do like the idea. I'm getting better at watching it and appreciating the work that he's putting into it. So it's taking me time to get to where I can watch all of the videos, but I will get there. And it's an awesome concept, even though it makes me grind my teeth.
I think it's Shred and I talked about this a little earlier this week or last week or whatever the heck it was, but I think it's really interesting right now that we have a very different industry and a very different like culture that is open to all different forms of media. Like we don't have, and if you listen to Jump Street podcast, Dave Payne was on a couple weeks ago. He was on a month ago, I think, around Blading Cup, but they released it a couple weeks ago. And he was talking about VG and Austin, and Billy were talking about how VG was this thing, right? And it was the Bible of blading. Like that is where you saw who was coming up, and you saw what tricks were new and what products were new, and that was where we did everything. Like this was before social, this was before any iPhones or anything. You didn't know what was going on in the city next to you because you had no way of seeing it. Like
Right.
if VG wasn't out, there was no communication. It was like Daily Bread and different magazines, but really that's it. I think now we have YouTube, and I think Instagram to a lesser point, and Facebook to a lesser degree, I guess. I think like YouTube for me, and biased because I'm a YouTuber, but for me, it's where people hang out and they watch for extended periods of time. Like Instagram is that quick hit. Like I need the clip, I need the trick, which is where Matt Lyon does so well. Like he is, and Sasha Carp Lopez, he is so good at Instagram. He will rack up these crazy views because he does Instagram tricks. Like Matt will do some crazy stunt, tricky trick silliness, and he'll get like thousands of views. Meanwhile, somebody like John Fromm will do some crazy switch up or whatever grind, and he won't get the crazy views because it's a different medium. Like John is filming for a part in VG, whereas I feel like Matt and like Sasha are filming for that quick, best trick contest. You know what I mean? I feel like YouTube is different, and YouTube is the extended, like, you expect to sit down and watch for a while, whether the sound is on or off. I know a lot of people don't listen with the sound on, but they are committed to watching YouTube. And I feel like without YouTube, we wouldn't have a lot of the people that we have now in the industry. Like, I don't think Nils would be as big as he is without YouTube. I definitely think that you wouldn't be as big as you were without YouTube. And as maybe not specifically YouTube, but social in general. Like having that medium so that you can share what you do and who you are. Like getting into VG or getting into Daily Bread was always this brotherhood sort of thing. You had to know people, and it was very rare for people to come up out of nowhere and get a profile in VG or get clips in VG. Like you had to be at the right place at the right time. And that isn't a problem anymore. You can go out there and do your own thing and create your own media, create your own world, and invite people in. And if they like it, they support you. And it's in evidence with your success with the wheels and with videos and getting profiles in one and profiles in Blader Union and all the things that you've done. Like, I don't know that that would be possible back in the old days. I don't
Mm.
know that Daily Bread would feature you in the way that they would feature Brian Aragon, or that they would feature Chris Haffey or someone else. And
Hmm.
again, it's an opinion. I don't know that that's fact, but there's nobody telling you what to do on YouTube or on social. You're doing it the way that you want to do it.
Well, they try.
Well, you don't listen. That's the thing. You don't have to listen. It's like they'll tell you, "Hey, you need to stop wearing uh, red, right? And
Yeah.
blue is cool this year." And you're like, "No, you know what? I'm gonna
Yeah,
wear. I'm gonna
that
keep wearing red."
it doesn't really make sense to me, bud.
It's just a great year. I think you look at the videos that I think back on the videos, and most of the videos that I think back on are the YouTube. They were on YouTube, like John Fromm's thing with Blader Union, your stuff, Nils's stuff with Mind Your Step. Is that what it's called? That
Yes.
documentary, yeah. Um, all of these are like, they're not the big VOD releases like you know looking through the list like Forever, right? The Blader Gang video. They don't have a YouTube channel. Like, they use YouTube as a distribution point for their videos, versus Brandon Drummond or Ricardo Lino, who are YouTubers who have this. This is where they like it's a year full of content instead of saving up for one edit. It's a very different way of looking at it. I love it. I think that it's what's helping to bring blading back. I think it's becoming more approachable, and it's going to where the people who are coming back already are.
Yeah, I wish that I was better at YouTube. Like, there was a time where I would spend 3 weeks or a couple of months with stacking clips, quote unquote clips, and I would put a little edit on YouTube. But like, I never. I think the only time I ever got any quote unquote traction was, I think I got like 15 or 1600 views on a quote unquote review edit that I did for a size of large shell Shadow Avants
Hmm.
that I hated because they were the large shell, but I skated them.
I don't. Again, I don't know that it's for everyone. I think that there's a lot of different people out there, and there are people who are looking for the VOD, and there are people who want to read the articles on Blader Union or whatever. And I think that's the point, that there's so many different type of people out there that we are able to address everybody in their medium, right? I don't think we have a very big presence on TikTok. I don't know that we should, but that's something that, or Snapchat, right? Like, I don't think there's much blading going on there, but definitely Instagram is huge. Facebook clearly is huge. YouTube is getting bigger, and I encourage it. I think more people on YouTube is good. The more people who are getting back looking for rollerblading, the more parents. My neighborhood, we have a local hockey team. The Hurricanes are local to us, and they did really well this last season. They did really well the season before, and it's definitely more of a like hometown. Like, more people are getting into hockey out here, and you see them playing hockey in the streets, and they just got a net and a puck and or a ball, a tennis ball, and some old sticks, and they're just shooting into the net. And then one day I saw one of the kids get rollerblades, and then their sister got rollerblades, and then for Christmas there's like 5 kids now who have rollerblades, and my daughter, who was not at all interested in rollerblading, is now going out doing lessons for the kids, because she's 12. She's the oldest of all the kids, in the neighborhood. And she's doing lessons for the kids to teach them how to skate. And it's like,
Wow.
now we have 6 kids on skates, like this squad of, mostly girls, like just killing it on skates, just skating all up and down the street. And it's like, first of all, that's awesome. But second, like, they need exposure to something, right? They need to
Hmm.
be able to see what skating can be. And we used to have the X Games, and, not to say the only girl was Fabiola, but you could watch Fabiola, and my daughter could say, and I've shown her Fabiola, we met Fabiola, and there's those role models where you can see really good skaters, skating vert usually, but being able to see professional skating is rare. And I think that YouTube can change that. It's accessible for everybody. They're not going to get on Instagram, but they're definitely going to go on YouTube and say rollerblading tricks or learn to rollerblade backwards or stop on rollerblades or something like that. And being able to find something that will then gateway them into something else. You know how the YouTube algorithm works. Like slowly and slowly, surely they'll get over to what skates do I need to do grinds, and that's where we got them. And it's starting. I mean, my neighborhood is proof. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one.
There was a couple of kids that I saw the other day. I think it was like 4 or 5 of them. Like right when they had Santa come through on the fire trucks. And there was like 4 or 5 kids just skating down the street in rollerblades. I'm like,
Yeah.
where are you guys going? There's 2 cul-de-sacs that way. What are you doing? There's a basketball court behind you. Where are you going?
Me and my buddy Brian were filming for that little ramp section that I just came out with a couple weeks ago. We were skating up this rail with one of my ramps, and this car pulls up, and we got a little concerned because we called a bunch of people and everyone was busy, so it was just going to be the 2 of us skating, and this car comes right up to us. And at first we thought it was someone we knew, but we didn't recognize the car. And then this woman sticks her head out, and she's like, "Deadpool, what are you doing? We just wanted to see you do a trick." And like this mother and her son just pulled over from driving down the road, just saw me skating, and this came over, and I went up and did a trick for them, and they were like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know you could do that."
Yeah.
And then this little kid just jumps out of the car, and he comes up to us. He's like, "Where can I get a pair of those?" And all this stuff. And my buddy actually had an old pair from a girl he used to date. Her son had a pair, and then he outgrew them, so he still had them. And he ended up just, we gave them to the kid, and the kid was super psyched. And I've been following him on Instagram. I don't remember his name offhand, but he's been like practicing in his backyard and stuff. And
No way.
it's really, really cool to see because the kid has never seen it before, and then he's just been like jumped right into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the encouragement, right? Like, you can do this. Like, this is something you can do.
Yeah, no, he was psyched, and he was like, we showed him a couple other tricks, and he's like, "I'm definitely doing this. This is awesome."
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I do think it's a problem. And it's awesome that you were there at the right place at the right time, right? But if that kid then brings his skates to the skate park, he's going to be very lonely.
Right.
I've been watching, I watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch skateboarding YouTube channels as well. Like, I'm always learning, wanting to see what other people are doing in different sports and what, I can learn from that, what I can adapt to my thing. And there's this skateboarder, I think his name is John Hill, who is based in New York, and he does a couple times a week show. It's really vlog style, almost similar to what I do. He's kind of gone up and down with this format, but he's kind of fallen back into this vlog style where he does a few tricks and then he talks a lot. But he goes around to different skate parks, and the last few times he's gone to skate parks, there have been rollerbladers in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll put them in the clips, like, not like edit them out or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't know if I've seen, and I've been watching skateboarding for a long time since I got back, just because it shows up in the algorithm. So it's like, oh, I'll see what this is all about, or they have some clickbaity sort of, you know, title or whatever, and I'll click on it and I'll watch, and you never see rollerbladers. But the last few times with his videos, we saw rollerbladers. There was the barracks do a kickflip thing with Santa Tony Hawk, where he was going around giving skateboards to kids and people who were doing tricks and kickflips and stuff like that. And he went to a skate park in San Diego, dressed as Santa, and there was a rollerblader, and Tony Hawk yells out, "Do a soul grind."
Oh, that's awesome.
And the dude did a top soul, so whatever, but it's fine. And I don't know what he got. I don't know if he got a t-shirt or whatever. But the fact that, first of all, he yells out to a rollerblader an actual rollerblading term. Second of all, they put it in the video, which has like 2 million subs. So it's not a small channel. And the guy was good. Like, he was doing tricks. And it's like, he made rollerblading look good. Like, sure, it's just another thing. Again, it's not promoting rollerblading. It's just putting it on that same level as it's like, yeah, this is just something other people do.
Yeah, it's not demoting it either.
Right, that's exactly it. It's not saying you shouldn't do this. It's like, this is something that other people do. I don't do this. But if that's you, like, it happens. Like, you do you. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to do anything with it. I'm not going to put them on. The Braille guys, this is another topic we should probably talk about. The Braille guys have totally embraced rollerblading. So they had Be Free on probably June of this year. It was early summer, I think. And they had Be Free and a few other rollerbladers. I think this was with Matt Mickey and the Intuition guys. So it was Damon and a few other skaters from Intuition. I don't know all of those guys, unfortunately. But they all showed up at the Braille house. And Braille is like the biggest skateboarding channel on YouTube. They have like 8 million subs or something like that. A ton of views. It's a huge enterprise. They had rollerbladers on, and Matt was super smart and brought skates for all of the guys there. So he brought just a variety of skates in different sizes and colors, and all of the skateboarders were putting on skates and trying skating stuff. And that video got hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, it was super quick to fly up the view count and whatever. So Braille probably made a pretty penny off of us, which is fine, because then they were like, oh wow, like our videos usually get 100,000 views. Now we're getting 10 times as much. Let's keep doing this. This worked for us. Let's get these rollerbladers back on. So Be Free is now like their token rollerblader. And he comes on every, few episodes, and he's just like in the background, like just, oh yeah, I'm just doing the thing. And it's like, of course, Be Free's going to do it because Be Free does everything good. Like, I'm going to do the biggest wall ride. I'm going to do the biggest gap. I'm going to do the biggest, airs or whatever. And it's like, of course, because he's Be Free. And it brings it to that level where it's like, of course, like, he's rollerblader, so what? And the comments, Ben, the comments. Reading the comments, there was absolutely no shit talking.
Yeah, and every one of those that I've seen, there was not shit talk. Might have been one or two people like fruit booters, but that was it. There wasn't any blatant like fuck these guys.
Right.
There was nothing like that, which is pretty sweet.
It might just be us old crotchety guys that grew up in the hate storm, because we're used to it.
100% what it is.
Yeah.
I've never had a kid younger than us talking shit.
Because they just don't know.
All right, they've never seen it before.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know to hate. It's
right.
just, this is, I'll learn maybe, but it's like, yeah, it's just a different thing that people do. And I think your point that people see it and they're like, I want to get a pair of those. That is a huge breakthrough. And you're in a very fortunate situation where you live in a place that has a good skate shop. I, as well, can direct people to Oak City. I always keep Roller Warehouse catalogs in my car to give out. I keep Intuition catalogs in my car to give out. If somebody says, hey, I want a pair of skates, or if I see somebody at the skate park in skates that aren't designed for what we do, I'll give it to them and I'll say, hey, like, here's a catalog. This is what's now. If you were interested in getting into aggressive, if you want to do skate park stuff, this is how you do it. What I need to do is like have a business card or something that has my channel has Lino's channel, has Brandon's channel, has Nils's channel, like all of the channels that I can send people to, your channel and Tiago's channel, like do whatever's out there, and just say, here are a few YouTube channels that I recommend that you should watch that are good. Like these will be quality channels, especially because a lot of these kids, they go with their parents, and I don't have a problem talking with parents, but I'm not really going to talk to kids because it's kind of weird. But I go up to the parents and I can say, hey, he looks like he's, or she looks like they're really liking this. Here's a few things that if, they ask questions, here's a few things that you can do to help them, and encourage them to do this. Because I think any parent that goes to a skate park with their kid wants to encourage their kid to do what they're doing. It's not like dropping them off at the skate park with a scooter and babysitting. It's like if you're there, you're actively participating in it, taking video of them skating and everything. You're proud of them. You want them to get better. And giving them information that they probably didn't know, I think that can only be seen as helpful.
Totally.
Anyway, that was a long tangent. Ugh.
So yeah, Independent was good.
Yeah, Independent. So so Valo's out of business.
Shima left USD.
Shima left USD. Yeah.
That was the best, worst meme ever. Before memes were even a thing.
That was pretty good. Let's see. Videos. So we talked about Independent. Elos was the last video of them for the end of the year. It came out around Blading Cup. Is that right? I think the timing's right. My timing usually gets a little off, but is that right?
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either. I think it was mostly an Alex Broskow video.
Which means it was probably good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's no surprise. I heard that a lot of people liked it. I have not seen it. There were a few really good videos this year that I haven't gotten around to seeing. I probably purchased Elos. I think I did purchase Elos. But I think I've said this before. I have a hard time sitting down and watching a full video. Like a 5-minute thing is cool, but sitting back and watching Hammer is really hard for me. I don't know that Elos is like that, but I have a hunch that it's just really high quality skating that it's hard for me to get into.
Which sounds like an oxymoron.
I know, it's weird, right? But that's where I am in life. Like, I can't see myself sitting in front of the VCR watching Hoax 2 over and over and over again anymore. But even Hoax 2 was more skits than skating.
Right.
Mad Beef, I guess, would be, or like a VG. Like, they all kind of had skits and everything back then. I guess it was a very different world. But,
well, we had 3 tricks, so we had to fill time.
That's true. There were only soul grinds, back sides, front sides.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we're really good at them, though.
That's true. I think that's what added to the character of them, though. At the same time, is it?
100%.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think that's what some stuff misses nowadays. Is there's just no character in it because you just see a dude doing a fakie 7 on this, and then do this trick on that, and it's all big tricks, but it's like, all right, but I don't know anything about this dude. Like I know that he skates, SLs and he does fakie 7s.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't tell me anything. So when you see stuff, I think when you see stuff like I would say probably Casey Moe was the last like quote unquote full length video that I saw that really felt like it had some stuff like that. So you saw more than just here's the trick. You'd see run up. You'd see the roll away and the setup of the different spots in Casey Moe and stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that you got to see that I think is missing in a lot of edits. But at the same time, most edits that people are going to make now are Instagram edits. And you can't put a lot of B-roll in a 1-minute edit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the medium has changed. I think Casey Moe was a DVD, right? It wasn't a VOD?
It was a VOD.
A VOD, okay.
Yeah.
I think that things changed when we went all digital. I think that there was a lot more like the DVD era, VHS era, and then the DVD era. I think there was a lot more time spent putting together this final edit because then you had to, like, I don't know, there was just something about having a physical copy of something that made it worth more. And I miss those days a lot. Watching the Mushroom Blading guys go back and watch the old videos. They just did Leading the Blind, and they did oh, what was it, Hoax 5? They did like 4 in the last couple of weeks. And those were the videos that I think you were talking about that were story. Like there was this whole like there were sections and there were parts and there were, you know, every edit put together like a story of the person, the good videos at least, the story of the person skating. And like Hoax 5 like touring around, just like Hoax 2, touring around the US and going to different spots and having adventures while they were out and about. That's engaging, you know, rather than trick, 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 which, again, like you said, you only have a minute, so you got to make the use of your minute on Instagram.
Yeah.
The mushroom bleeding guys did, so they took like a year off of YouTube and Instagram, and they released MB7. Have you seen MB7?
I have not.
I have. It was great.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Have you ever skated Wizards, Shred?
No,
I don't know that it's your thing. Like,
I'm too poor for that.
well, they're not cheap, that's for sure. Um, it is a very different style of skating, and knowing your background and seeing you like on some of your clips playing pond hockey, you know you're a hockey player, and though I heard Joey was a really great hockey player growing up. Um, Wizard frames are not for hockey players in my eyes. They're more for
Mm.
skiers. And I don't know, do you ski or snowboard?
I snowboard
Yeah.
less and less the older I get, but
Yeah.
I don't. I used to enjoy it as much as skating, but nowadays, like, I just get hurt if I try to do rails and stuff. So
Uh,
it's not as fun just going down the mountain for me.
yeah, I get that. I think Ben skis, right?
I'm capable of both. Uh, either one really, as long as I have a nice groomer and I can go really fast and I can carve turns,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine.
It, would you agree though the Wizards are more skis than ice skates or hockey skates, I
Absolutely,
guess?
absolutely.
That's kind of the vibe that I get, and that's why I think that Joey and Todd are so good at. I don't know that Todd skis. I know Joey, if he doesn't ski, he loves skiing. It is a very different feel. Next time you come down, I have the Wizards here. I'll set them up for you so that you can try them out. It is it's a coasting feel. You know, have you ever skated big wheels aside from those Flying Eagles? Do you have big wheels?
I have some Trimax. I don't know if you consider
No, that's fair.
those.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, there's that different feeling. I mean, even though you skate Wish, you know,
Hmm.
the Wish compared to like a, I don't know, a Featherlight or something like that. Like it would be a very different comparison, and you get a lot more. Like the top speed might not be any different, but the amount of strides that you need to maintain
Hmm.
speed on a Wish frame is very different than what you would need skating anti-rocker on 58s.
Right.
The feeling that you get on the Wizards is like that difference, but exponentially more.
Yeah.
So you have a higher top speed, and I've likened it to like a battery where you like generate energy as you pump through things and you don't really lose speed. So
Hmm.
as you go through transitions or a pump track or something like that, whenever you pump, it just adds more speed and it slowly slows down. So it's not like you're losing speed. So you can really fly around on these wheels. It's a really cool feeling. Joey and Todd are amazing at it, and they released MB7, which is Mushroom Blading 7, the seventh full length video that they released, which was different. You know, they were always, I think they did some of the family edits. I think Todd did some of the family edits over the year, but there haven't been a lot of just regular YouTube 3 minute edits.
Hmm.
They saved all of their clips for this, and I think it's cool. I personally prefer more consistent content, like even if it's once a month. I would like to see more consistent content, but again, that's me as a YouTuber sort of guy. I think that anybody who puts the time together to put together a 20-minute edit or 20-minute video that's a huge undertaking, and finding the right clips and doing the trick over and over and over until you get them. Um, they don't put in their falls. They had skits and stuff like that, so it was a fun video. Again, totally worth watching. It is not a trick sort of video. It is a silliness, lots of talking, lots of just, I don't know. It's what made the old mushroom bladings fun to watch. Really just personality and people just having a lot of fun on skates. So definitely recommend it.
That's on their YouTube.
Yeah, I think it just came out. It's worth watching.
I'll definitely check that out. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I think they skate similarly to how you would skate if you had wizards. A lot of quick strides and just jumping big stuff. They're just really fast. Like these frames, and I have a hard time because the wheelbase is so long that when I do crossovers, especially backwards crossovers, I clip really quickly because just my hockey mindset, it's a really quick crossover, and I don't stay doing crossovers very long. So when I do it on wizards, I clip my wheels pretty quickly. But they're a lot of fun. I gotta set them up as soon as it gets dry out here. It's been raining so much, and I'm sure that it's wet up where you are. But it's time to get out there again.
It's actually been pretty perfect to skate lately. I've been kind of out of commission for the past couple of weeks, but
what happened?
It's like playing hockey. I got hit with a shot. My foot, something in my tendons is just it. I don't know, if I step on my foot the wrong way, it just sends like a shock up my ankle.
Ooh.
So I've tried to skate a couple times, but it just hurts too much, so I can't do anything.
Ouch. You're blocking shots? What are you doing blocking shots?
I wasn't. He was behind his net trying to shoot it up ice and shot it at my feet like an asshole.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, dude, it's a beer league. I'm sure you got no right being blocking shots.
I do end up playing a lot of defense, and I'm very aware when I am trying to block a shot, and this was not one of those times. So
yeah. Stick on the ice, face the opponent,
hand
up.
He had three other options of where he could have rocketed that puck out of my but
he chose you.
Yeah. I've fallen like 15 feet out of the air on my hip, and I've never been out of commission this long. Like my luck with getting hurt outside of skating is crazy.
I haven't played hockey in like 3 years. I wonder what, with all of my skates and all of my like being so particular about the cuffs and the ride height and the forward lean and everything, I wonder what my hockey skates will feel like now. I still have all my equipment.
They will feel like you're wearing two incredibly small tissue boxes and you're going to fall on your face.
Yeah, because it's a forward lean, right?
Yes.
I didn't even get them profiled. I'm sure that they're still flat or as flat as they can be, but yeah, that's. I gotta try it. I'll make a video about that sometime in the next couple of months.
I'll come ice skate with you. I'll bring my grind frames.
So tell me about those. I gotta hear about those. So there was a video that came out with you, and there was the cover was you doing a back unity. Funny enough, who knew that you could do back unities? You doing a back unity on the boards.
Oh yeah,
in front of the bench. What's the story here? How did that come about?
I went to go to Thorough Shop to grab some stuff from Gabe, and he had oh, it's going to bother me now. I totally forget the guy's name. He started this company called Rolance Co. He was just making his own frames. Like he made the molds himself, like in his apartment.
No
way. He had a pair with him to lend to Gabe to try out, and he was trying to like finalize some funds to actually like start producing them.
Sure.
His name is like on the tip of my tongue. I think his last name's Karen, Denis Karen, or something like that.
Okay.
He's from Canada.
Okay.
He's gonna hate me for not remembering his name, but I'm terrible with names. But yeah, anyways, he lent them to Gabe, and like I'm looking at them, they're basically freestyle frames with ice blades on them, and so you can do H block grinds.
So
and
cool.
I immediately was like bugging him to sell me a pair. I was like, "You need to make me a pair now. I'll pay whatever it costs.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
give you the money. I'll give you the money now. You take it. You go make them. You send them to me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I have one more pair of prototypes, but he was like telling me that they're an initial pair he was working on, so the blades aren't 100% lined up straight, so they have like a little bit of a like they're tweaked to one side,
Okay.
so it kind of pulls to one side when you're skating.
Okay.
But yeah, he offered them to me for a discount because of that, and I was like, as soon as you can, send them. And they're super fun. It's just like a whole different like feeling. Obviously, when you're on wheels, they have a little bit more of a almost like a cushion to it. Whereas
Sure.
when you're ice skating and you go to jump, it's a little more harsh.
Right.
So that part of it's a little tough to get used to. But the fact that you can just like go hit a pond and bring out like a little rail,
Yeah.
do a couple grinds is great.
I think that's where I saw you doing it in the indoor rink with
Yeah.
some P rails and stuff, and then you went to a pond, which was in one of the Wayne's World. Is it Wayne's World? Am I saying it right?
It's Blades World.
Blades World. I don't
Which
even
is
know.
better than what you called it the other day.
Yeah,
which
well,
was-
well, you shouldn't. But that's neither here nor there. I think there was that edit that you were skating in the pond, and that's when I was like, "Whoa, Shred's got some handles!" Like you were doing toe drags and lacrosse moves. I'm like, "What the hell?"
yeah,
Like I didn't know
yeah.
you could play hockey. Like where'd this come
Yeah.
from?
Yeah, I'm gonna make more of those. Those are fun to do.
It was really cool. I mean, it's the season to do it, so you're gonna miss out.
Actually, it hasn't been cold enough. It's strangely
Really?
enough. Yeah, it's been like high 40s.
Oh, that's not cold enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rolance.com. I just went to the blog, and the last post was from a guy named Jean Denis Karen.
I could not remember his first name.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Jordan, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah, J Karen was the email address. Jean Denis, JEAN hyphen DENIS CARON. They've got the UFS ice blades and the UFS freestyle ice blades. I mean, people shit on UFS all the time, but it's like with UFS, you can do anything. Like there are boots out there that anybody can get a UFS boot, and you can put whatever frame you want on. You know, the Wizard frames. You can do 4x110 if you wanted to. You could go and do these crazy freestyle ice blades. You can do freestyle frames. You could do, I mean, wish frames. I mean, all these amazing progression in frame technology happens in UFS. Like, I'm sure that it happens in 165, but not as much as UFS. I think the Tinkerer's standard is UFS.
I would agree with that.
It's universal.
It is universal. That's why they named it.
Yeah.
I have a pair of the ground control UFS frames, which again, every time I say ground control ice blades or ground control Trimax or Tri Skates, I always have this picture of like John Elliott in my head crying because it's like this isn't what we set out to do, you know, like
Just like breaking whatever he happens to have in his hands.
yeah, like god damn it, like because it was such a different company when it started. But
I made frames for grinding.
yeah, well, I mean, it was a style, and it's so funny because watching back, and seeing the Leading Blind, the 4x4 video, which I had never seen, by the way. I saw all of the edits separately, but I never saw the video together. So watching it with Todd and Joey's commentary was really refreshing to finally see the whole video from start to finish. But that team was crazy. Like that video was just like I mean, you talk about hammer skating. That was like the pinnacle of hammer skating.
Yeah, yeah. When ground control was, I don't want to say in vogue like they're not now, but when they were like the new hot shit and making the new stuff,
Mm-hmm. It was. I mean,
everybody who was everybody was on ground control.
it was a very different world back then. It was just I can do anything. I'm absolutely fearless, and it's like, yeah, I'll do that. Like I'll grind there. Like things that you wouldn't even look to grind anymore. I mean, maybe Gumby would, but like most people wouldn't look to grind. It's like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, of course, I'm
Yeah,
gonna throw down. Like we're filming
yeah.
for
Let's
the
see what
four
happens.
by four video. Of course, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Amazing. Speaking of ground control, so they announced so ground control has definitely evolved over the years. They came out with their three-wheel answer to Trimax last year. Was that 2 years ago? Must have been 2 years ago because it was when I got the Shift, and the Shift came out, and then the Cosmo came out. So it was probably 2017. Yeah, 2017 probably, maybe 2018. The metal frames has always been a thing with ground control, but this year they came out with the 80s in different colors, and they announced the 60s and the 72s, and really like jumped on the metal frame. I don't want to call it a bandwagon, but it's kind of like the train that's leaving the station, right? Where the we talked about the 65 samples that Kyle made that Joe was skating for years. Kyle coming out with a Sola frame, which is a flat. Is it 60 mil? Is that what it's designed for?
the Solia.
Yeah. Okay. So flat 60, hugely popular. It's an expensive frame. Who would have thought that an expensive like $180 or whatever they are frame would be so popular? You see a lot of them out there. They are great
For sure.
frames. They are, again, I haven't skated them, so just going from what people say, they are an amazing park frame. I think that anybody skating primarily parks would be silly not to try them. At the same time, maybe a month later, Kaiser comes out with the Element 2s, which is again, an all aluminum frame. It is a 6860. Is that what it is? 68 mil on the outside,
Uh,
60 on the inside for flat. I don't
I think
Yeah,
remember.
that's what I think
that's how
that's
you
what
can
that
skate it.
is.
I never had them, so I don't know. I don't know that they were as popular. Both of you have had them. What did you did? So first of all, I don't think Ben ever skated solos. Did you ever skate solos, Shred?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Is there a reason? Like,
Well, they were definitely more expensive.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know when I was deciding between the two, I think price was the main reason. Maybe the
got it.
groove looked a little more ready to go on the Element 2s.
Hmm.
Even though a lot of people complain about the groove, I think that it was better that it was deeper. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was really just the price at the time.
Hmm.
I might have went differently now. Like I like what Sola's been doing the past couple of years since they dropped.
Hmm.
That I probably would prefer to support him at this point, but I already bought the other ones.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I totally agree. I think Kyle's been incredibly innovative
Yeah.
with pushing skate technology and design. The the initial Solar frames came out and they had the plastic H block. So the concept is that it's a extruded solid aluminum frame, very similar to the Wizard frames in look, in my eyes. So it's a very clean, flat look.
Hmm.
And then it has a H block. The H block is removable, so you could swap it with a fresh H block or a different material H block or a different shaped H block. So the areas that you're skating is solid. They're axles where your wheels go. They provide a good split. a good wheelbase, and then the grinding area that you actually wear is replaceable and adjustable. I think it's brilliant. I mean, it's the way that it should be. I think that it is something that the Kaiser Element 1 missed by just a little bit, because they had those sliders, they had a very heavy design, it was a very tall frame, but you could see the foundation of what Sola became with those Element ones. Where Sola killed it is it was just a minimal look. You can't say that they don't look cool, and they perform really well. They're really low profile. Flat 60 is an amazing setup. Even flat 58 would be great. And he did the right thing with the H block, where if you're trying to create a flat frame, you don't have a ton of groove space. You need to lower that frame, that H block down, which means that you have less of wheel bite opportunity. Like, you definitely can still get wheel bite on a Sola frame, but it's less than, if you were skating that with an H block that was raised a little bit higher. The Element 2 has a deeper groove, but it also has more wheel bite protection, and it has a bigger split because it has the flat rocker like the Wish, where it's got the little wheels on the inside, so they could push that middle wheel gap out, and they could provide a bigger groove area. Two different ways of going at the problem, and it just so happens that I think I don't know sales numbers. I don't see a lot of Element 2s out there. I think that wheel sizes might be one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of Element 2s out there. I think trying to find 68 millimeter wheels is difficult. And 60s are easy, but if you don't have 68s, what do? You go down to 65s, and even 65s is difficult. Like, there's this 64s are probably easy to find, but there's this chasm of wheel size, like a desert of wheel sizes from like 64 up into 72. And if you need bigger wheels to skate those effectively, like, what are you going to do? You don't have a lot of options. I guess you could skate, if it's a 8 mil difference, you could skate the 64s with a 56, but there's not a lot of 56s out there. Like, the numbers don't, you know what I mean? The numbers don't quite add up right.
Right.
And that might be the problem with the Element 2. Whereas the Sola, you just, put in, 4
Whatever.
down. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah,
you
the
got.
normal stuff. Yeah.
Even anti-rocker. You could skate those anti-rocker. I wouldn't skate the Element 2's anti-rocker, but you could definitely skate the Sola's anti-rocker. And they do. And again, to Kyle's credit, he's created anti-rocker H-blocks that have a deeper groove, because you don't need that lower groove if you don't have to worry about wheel bite.
It also might have been at the time, like, Kaiser was a name I knew, and before I knew Kyle's story. But now it's kind of funny, because I think I'd prefer to support somebody who's putting their own name on the line rather than a bigger company.
Yeah. I would agree with that. What do you think of them? Do you still skate them, or have you skated them recently?
I just reset them up, but I haven't been able to skate.
Got it.
I was gonna skate them on another setup that I probably wouldn't be filming with.
Got it. You're kind of.
Well, I want to know what that setup is.
We'll talk. We'll edit this. We'll edit this section out. No, I'm just kidding. You're like all in on Wish. Like, since I've seen you skating, you've been on the Wish frames. In fact, you had that dual injection Wish with the color splash. What was that all about? I think Cletus talked a little bit about that. How did that, like, how did you what made you think that you could call up Cletus and say, hey, give me this? You know what I mean?
Actually, he reached out to me. Well, it's funny. That's kind of why I was, I've been skating the Wish, because I guess I kind of unofficially, like, skate them exclusively.
Sure.
My buddy Andy Lederman was kind of giving me frames.
Okay.
He's like, you should try these out. He said Cletus would think it's awesome, and then from there, just every couple of months, Cletus would be like, "Hey, do you need frames?" I'd be like, "I'm good. These things last a long time."
Yeah.
And then he reached out to me when he had those black and red frames, and he's like, I have a frame set up for you that I think would be right up your alley. Let me know when you need new frames. And I told him that like it might be a while, dude. Like I really don't see any wear on the Wish frames at all.
Hmm.
And so he reached out to me again. He's like, I still got those frames, and I was like, well, send me a picture. I want to see them. He's like, I'll only send you a picture when you need new frames. So I think I need new frames, and then he showed me them.
That's awesome.
Basically, what happened was when they print them or put them in the molds, they obviously put color into them. And
Right.
when they're making them, they switch colors. Sometimes they kind of just get like a half and half.
Hmm. Hmm.
So he actually the frame is so rare that he only sent me one of them, like not even a set.
Oh, no way. I thought you had a set.
No, I have one black that fades into red, and then he gave me those other ones that were the red that go into blue that I
Okay.
ended up giving away with your compass wheels.
Right. So you have a pair of those, but you only have one of the black and
I
reds.
literally have one black and red one,
That's
and then I
awesome.
just did it with another all black one.
I could totally see Cletus talking to you like that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, you just need to say
Yeah,
it.
no, it's really cool because like he was like hooking me up through Andy, and I just felt kind of weird asking for
Yeah.
more because he was nice enough to do it. And then he sent me a message one day, and it just said something about like updating the team info. Here's a password. Go check it out. And I was like, wait, I'm on the team. And then I went and looked at the website, and it says everybody's name and their little something about them, and then I'm under my own other column by myself. And I sent him a message just laughing. I was like, that makes way more sense. I'm
That's
by
pretty
myself.
funny.
Yeah. So
Well, you represent well, and I think I have never seen you skating. No, you skated freestyle. There was that time when you had freestyle on one foot, and you had what did you have
yeah,
on the
I
other
actually
foot?
missed that. It was my own little six down hybrid style.
Six down.
That was so weird.
It worked
So
amazing. You have no idea.
Isn't that what you are in your sticker? I might even have one of those stickers around here somewhere.
What was that?
Didn't you have a sticker made that you had six
yeah,
down?
Yeah,
the
it might
the
it might be
Shredpool center sticker.
it might be on the center sticker. Um,
No, it definitely is. It's on my welding helmet. I look
So
at it
good.
several times a day, every day.
the thought behind that is, anti-rocker freestyle is slower, but you don't get wheel bite.
Right.
You only get wheel bite on your front foot.
True.
So I was like, 6 wheels has got to be better than 4.
I mean, the math checks out.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing golf.
Right. No, I mean
True.
it worked great. But then Andy gave me a pair of Wish frames to try out, and I've skated them ever since.
Yeah. I think they're amazing frames. Are you going to try the mediums, or are you going to stick with the
Oh
largest?
yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. If there was anything after skating the Wish, 2 weeks ago or so, I skated them in the Adapt. So that's not a normal skate, and it was very stiff, and it wasn't it was a full carbon Adapt. I guess apparently there's an Adapt that they make now that has a little bit more flex than the flex that I have. Instead of just using carbon, they use another material that is interwoven, and it makes it a little bit more flexible, but it's still stiff. So it's not like a squishy plastic. It's still a solid carbon, but it will have a little bit more flex. Anyway, I had a really difficult time getting boot down on Royales with the Wish frame and the Adapts. It was just too much of a squash. I couldn't get myself down low enough so that I could get on the groove. I didn't have that problem with, with the 908s, the shifts, the sevens, the shadows, like any other skate that I skated.
Hmm.
But I did have a problem with the adapts. I couldn't get down low enough because that groove is a little taller. It is something that he's
Yes.
addressed with the medium frame, and I have a pre-order in. Hopefully end of this month. It seems like production's going really well. We got the update earlier this week that they were making most of the frames. I think some of the colors are done, and the hardware came in. He's getting his own custom hardware made, which is incredible.
Hmm.
Again, like the supporting Kyle, uh, definitely support Cletus. The guy is working really hard and he's investing his time and money into this because he loves blading.
Hmm.
And that's, if there was a coin toss between, getting a Wish frame or getting, you know, a Kaiser frame or a ground control frame, um, you know, do what you think is right. Like if you think your money is going to go to somebody who's investing in the sport, um, I'm not saying don't support Kaiser and don't support ground control, but I think your money can go a lot further if you support the smaller brands. They are. It will mean a lot more to them. Like that single sale will mean a lot more to them because we're
Hmm.
not doing big numbers. I mean, I don't know what Kyle's doing. I don't know what Cletus is doing. I know what I'm doing, and our numbers are so small compared to back in the days when we were just, you know, flaunting it, right?
Right.
And we were actually able to pay ourselves salaries. Um, there's still a small industry, and I'm sure that they sell more frames than I do. I don't know that Kyle sells more frames than I do, but I'm sure that Cletus sells more frames than I do. But I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if it was a ton more. I feel like the industry is big enough to support multiple frame companies now, but it's not that big. Like we're not able to sell enough to live off of it or anything like that. Anyway, super excited about the mediums. Stoked to hear that you're doing great on Wish. I think it's a good match. I think you represent really well, and I love Cletus. I think that he you know he deserves all the help that he can get because he's doing good work.
Yeah.
What else is there on the list? What else is there?
There's a couple
Uh,
wheel options in there we can talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about wheels. So we talked about weird wheels and trying to find 68 mils for the Kaiser. We never followed up on the ground control. Let me finish up with that. So the
Ah,
ground control
okay.
frames. So the 80s are just like another design of the 80s. I have the ground control 80s on my Sebas now, and I really like them. I think the 80 in large is a good wheelbase for me. It's like 270, which is a little longer than I'd like. I think 260 would be good. But usually when you find a 4x80 frame, it's usually 243, which is like the shortest that you could possibly get. And for me, my foot is a 10.5 or a 28.5, and it's a little too short for me. I feel like I have a hard time like just doing airs or any sort of, I don't know. It's harder to land and feel stable when I'm skating with such a short wheelbase. So that's the 80. The 60 and the 72. This is where it gets really interesting. So I don't think anybody saw the 60 or the 72 coming, but at Blading Cup this year, they released, or they announced, I should say, full aluminum frames in 60 millimeter flat and 72 millimeter flat. They are a direct competitor to Sola. Like, there's no way around it. They are a completely flat frame. There's no uh, Element 2 style flat rocker. It's 60 across. It is a replaceable H block. It is an extruded aluminum frame. It is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you didn't know skating and you looked at this frame with a Sola frame, you would think that they were identical. You could
Hmm.
pick out the highlights magazine, like what's the difference between the two. Like you could definitely figure them out, but just at a glance, you would think that they were the same frame. I don't know where I stand on that. I think that it's a good idea is one, like everybody has good ideas. It's the implementation that matters. I don't know how many times I get people, in a previous life I wrote iPhone apps, and as people knew that I wrote iPhone apps, I would get swamped with people who had ideas for iPhone apps. And it's like, of course you have an idea for an iPhone app. Everybody has an idea for an iPhone app. That's not the point. The point is that can you actually build the iPhone app? Can you actually take your idea and put it into something? And that's what Kyle has done. That's what Cletus has done. I don't know that Ground Control would have come up with that design had Kyle not come up with the Sola frame first. I don't know when they started that, project, but I
Mm.
know that they knew their stuff with aluminum already. Like the 80 was definitely in production before the Sola came out. So I'm sure that the 80 was already like probably modeled after the Wizard, but with an 80 mil frame instead of like the design is a very flat, clean style. They've taken that design and they've continued it to the 60 and the 72, and they've added a replaceable H block. Again, I don't know where I. It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah, that's a good word. Because if you look in history, ground control was one of the originators of the replaceable H blocks. Like they had, even the ground control one had a replaceable H block. All throughout, like if you look at the Murda, if you look at the flat rocker, like if you look at the F1, like all of these had these crazy replaceable H blocks, replaceable grind plates, replaceable everything. They're no strangers to replaceable H blocks. So if Sola never came out, you could see ground control coming out with that frame, and you'd say, "Oh, that's totally logical. Like they've done it in the past, and they're doing it again." But
Yeah.
Sola beat them to it, and then they did it anyway. Like it's a weird, like, yeah, convenient. It's very convenient that they look very similar to the Sola frames.
Yes.
Well, but at the same time, I think there's very little that you can do to really make it any different. Until you get into the realm of the Akaru frames or Kiru.
Yep, you're right.
Those.
You're right.
Until you get into spending a ton of time on machining cutouts and arches and everything like that, like there's really no need. It's just going to drive the cost of your product up, exponentially the more that you do. So it just seems to make sense. Keep everything flat. Give yourself a threaded option in your axle so you can put grind walls on it if you want to. But other than that, I think it's good to go.
I will say that I don't think those frames are available yet for pre-order.
No, there's people on the teams that are skating them. Derek
Right.
Henderson in his latest stuff was skating them.
Yep.
I know Jeff Akers is skating them.
Yep. So there are people out
shout
there
out to
with
Jeff
them.
Akers. Thanks for the help the other day, by the way.
What did he do?
I don't want to talk about it. He knows what he did.
Well, now it sounds bad.
Yeah, you know what you did.
Well, Jeff works in the warranty, does a lot of the warranty stuff for razors,
Yes.
and he helped me out with something like that.
I saw him
It
helping.
was really appreciated.
I saw him helping somebody with some SLs that cracked as well. I think Jeff does a great job.
I saw that one too.
Very appreciated
Underappreciated.
at Sunshine,
absolutely.
if I can say so. The frames are not available. So when we first announced the frames and talked about them after Blading Cup, Steve Johns, our man on the ground at Blading Cup, had the inside scoop, and they were supposed to be $99. They were supposed to come with two. Was it 99 or 120? I think it was 99. They were supposed to come with both H blocks, plastic and aluminum, and they were supposed to land in the middle of December. That hasn't happened, so I don't know what the pricing is. I've heard rumors that they're going to be up in the 150 range, which is creeping a lot closer to Sola, which are what, 180? I think
180, yeah.
So it again, if you're going to invest an extra $30 to a single person, that's that's realistic. Like that's not a lot of money, not a lot more for supporting Sola. I don't know when they're going to come out. I haven't seen any pre-orders. I haven't seen, I'm looking on Roller Warehouse right now and they don't have them listed. I don't know when they're going to come out. I hope that they didn't have any problems with manufacturing. I hope that they're just waiting for spring. It's weird that they announced them so early, though. Like, and they showed them at Blading Cup. I guess, I mean, the 909 isn't out anytime soon either. So it's kind of typical for us to show stuff early. But, yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens with those frames and how it's accepted in the industry. I think our industry is strong, but we're also very, like, proud, I think, of ourselves. And I'm really curious. I want to get a pair of the 72s. I haven't skated the Solas, and I don't plan on skating the ground controls in 60. I just don't know that I want a 60 frame like that for skate park or anything like that. For me, I want a pair of the 72s to do urban skating. Like, I want to go out and skate the streets. I want to have a really nice responsive UFS boot that is a flat 72, because I love my Aeon 72s, and I want to get something that isn't an Aeon and see if there's a UFS option. So I think that the 72 would be good for me, but I'm going to stay away from the 60s.
Well, they come with several sizes also, which
Yeah,
is
different
intriguing
lengths.
to me. Yeah. So I think the extra large is like a 283 or something like that for a flat 60.
Crazy long.
It's got my name all over it.
I know
want
it
that.
does. Yeah, that's all you.
But I mean, again, that's a frame set that I would only skate at Woodward.
Right.
Like I don't really see myself skating that anywhere else.
And that's the thing. Like I'm not. I hope that it's not coming across as negative. The reason why I don't skate the Solas is because I don't know that I can skate the Solas. Like I don't know that I'm good enough to really skate them. Like I used to play golf, and I was never good at golf. And I went out to the driving range all the time. At least 3 times a week, and I would play every weekend. And my friend was like, who golfed with me, was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get rid of this driver. Like, I'll give you a great deal on it." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't hit my driver. Like, what difference is it going to make if I get your driver? Because I'm still going to suck. Like, getting a new driver is going to make any difference. Like, I'm not going to be able to tell the difference. Like, it's not going to make, I don't know. It's like with our world shred, like if you upgrade to a composite, $300 CCM stick versus, playing with a wood Sherwood or whatever, like you're going to tell the difference because of the weight, but you won't be able to tell the difference with the snap or with the flex. Like it's a completely different feel. The pop or the, what is the kick point? Is that what they call it? It's been a long time.
It's not going to change the amount of shots to my feet.
Yeah, well, no, you're still going to get hurt. And that's the point. Like, I'm not good enough to tell the difference. And I always thought that was the case with hockey. I would never buy, a stick that was more than $150. And I would, stick around back when the Easton was around. Like, I was always get like an Easton Mako or like one of the, like $150 stick. And they were amazing sticks because they were composite and they were light and I could feel it. But then you could spend $300, $400 on these crazy composite one-piece sticks that are purposeful designed. And if you grew up shooting with that stick, you could fire that puck.
Yeah.
But
and then you'll break it in 2 months.
And then you have to buy another one. Yeah. I don't think that the Solas will break, but I don't think that I know how to skate well enough to do tricks with them that I'm going to be able to tell the difference. And I feel like that's where, I don't know, that's where these aluminum frames are in my head. Like, I feel like I'm just not good enough to skate them, and I don't skate park well enough. I love that we have that option. So, like you said, Ben, you've got your Woodward set up, but I don't know that I go to Woodward enough to justify it.
Well, now once a year, so.
Once a year, that's right. So I've heard rumors that they're looking into doing 2 weeks this year. Is
that would be great.
Have you heard anything on that? What's the inside scoop? We can edit this out.
Well, the inside scoop was they might be doing 2 times a year.
Dude, that would be so cool.
That's the whole story. I heard rumors that they're also trying to make it so you can bring your own kids.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of some other kids that you brought last time.
Well, the whole point is...
Wait a second. Whose kids were those that you brought?
To explain what that meant was... they were afraid of having people under 18 because of liability issues. But if you were in charge of your own children, then it would be a different story.
Totally makes sense.
Right.
I did notice a complete lack of kids, and that wasn't a bad thing.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
Right. I was just gonna say it's not a bad thing, but
if they do 2 weeks and they want to open one up to having kids there needs to be a very specific line of demarcation. This is where you go if you want to party and skate. This is where you go if you want to bring your family and skate.
Right.
Because there was stuff that was happening that I don't want my 7-year-old seeing.
Well,
I don't know if I can keep her.
Technically, that stuff wasn't supposed to be happening
This
either.
is true.
And
This is
it
true.
wasn't happening. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What children?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm just saying, like, and even beyond that, like, do I want to have my kid around, people, partying until 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking beers and, playing craps? Like,
Yeah.
that's cool, like, when my kid's not there, but, like, I don't want her to see that. Like, I'm sure it's going to happen at some point in my backyard, but that's when I'm at home. I'm not trying to take her to the skate park with that.
Yeah,
So,
that's got to be a lodge situation. Like, you wouldn't put your kid in a cabin unless it was like all families that got together. You know what I mean? Like, I could
Yeah.
see me bringing my kid, you bringing your kid, like Jeremy bringing his. You know what I mean? Like, all of us dads, like a Blader dad cabin. But then you have the opposite cabin, and they'd have to they'd have to know that, hey, there's kids in here, shut the hell up.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be more of a lodge situation where you'd have to get a private room with your kid. I think that would be too weird otherwise.
It's funny because
Yeah.
I didn't even think that far ahead because I don't have kids. So
Yeah, these are all the things. All the
Yeah.
things. I don't know that there's anything wrong with bringing kids. I think the naked launch ramp is few and far between. Like, you're gonna see that regardless. And anybody who's like, if my daughter saw a boy skating down a ramp naked, she would probably look away and say, "What is he doing? Like, that guy is an idiot." Which,
I mean,
she would be
to
right.
to be fair,
right?
yeah, you're right.
But she wouldn't. Like, I don't know. I don't think that would be a problem. I would have a harder time as a parent. I would have a harder time with the late nights and the pot, which isn't a problem, but it's not something that I have around very often. You know what I mean? Like, drinking and smoking weed. Like, I wouldn't want her around that. I especially if we're going for a skating weekend. Like, that's just not my environment. So
I would imagine that it would be maybe only families type of situation.
yeah, like maybe it's a family sort of cabin. You know what I mean? Like how they had the Blady's cabin.
Or even like the weekend. Like it might just be like this one's for families, this
Oh,
one's the
interesting.
party one. Yeah.
That could be
I'm
really
just
interesting.
guessing.
Well, I mean, you know more than I do.
I mean, yeah.
I think it would be awesome. I don't know that I would bring my kid up there for a weekend because I'm selfish like that, and I would want to skate. You know what I mean? Like, this is daddy's time. You know what I mean? But I love the idea. I think that limiting it to just adults is kind of narrow-minded. Like, there's a lot of great kids out there who should have an opportunity to go to Woodward, and that Woodward doesn't have summer camps for inline. Apparently, they do this year. Have you seen that?
They had 1 week last year. I think they had more in Woodward West. And I
Yes.
think they might have added one this year, or maybe it's just another 1 week. But
Yeah. I again, like we talked about earlier, I think that there is a rise in like awareness of inline. I don't know that those weeks were busy with rollerbladers, but you got to start somewhere.
I think it was any age. Like I think you could have been over 18 and gone to that camp
Oh, interesting. So it wasn't
Because-
just kids.
because it wasn't packed. So
Got it. That would be even weirder. Where would that
yeah,
kid?
yeah.
Where would that adult stay? Right?
Guessing in a different cabin.
Yeah,
maybe.
totally weird, right? I don't know about anyway.
Yeah. All I know is from asking Cameron because they mentioned the week and I think they were looking for
Right.
somebody to work it, but not the instruction, just like working some of the park details.
Sure.
And then I asked him about it, and I said, "Oh, I want to go to camp," but like jokingly, and he's like, "Well, you can actually go. You can pay for it."
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was just joking or if he meant anyone can go.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I hope that there's 2 weeks. I don't really care about the family thing, to be honest. I mean, it's great if they do it, but I hope that there's 2 weeks because it was not too busy this year. And you both were there last year. I wasn't, but from everything that I heard, there were twice as many people, but it didn't feel like there were twice as many people
Right.
because the place is just so huge. Like
Right.
we never waited to skate. Like maybe a little bit at what was it?
Cloud nine.
Yeah, Cloud 9 was tough, and Lot 8. No, Lot 8 was fine. What was the playground? That
Yeah,
little
Oh
mini
playground
yeah.
was fun.
that
Mini ramp.
mini ramp is
Basically.
always, yeah. That's always, it's always, there's always a line at a mini ramp, but
Right.
otherwise, I mean, yeah, you could always find a session somewhere,
Oh
and you could
yeah.
always squeeze in. Like it was never a problem. I hope that there's more people this year. We had 500 this year. There were 200 last year, 300 last year.
I think it was around like
Yeah, it was,
280 something.
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, if we get above 600 or so, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Our cabin definitely wasn't full. We could probably fit another, few people in there, but we're not kids. So
Mm-hmm.
having a full cabin, with a bunch of sweaty dudes, like there's only one shower, and it's not big enough to share. Like you're not you're doing one at a time, so it's like it's there's a lot of smells in that cabin if you've got that many guys. Anyway, so yeah, Woodward, definitely looking forward to it. My family knows that it is now my summer vacation,
Mm-hmm.
that I will be going every year. So if anybody is listening and planning on going or is on the fence, definitely worth doing. It's not cheap, but it's not crazy. What is it like? I
It's
mean, yeah,
$100.
you can get in for $100.
That's super cheap.
Well, but getting there and then feeding yourself
Uh,
for the weekend, I guess. I mean,
well,
yeah,
you just got to get your driver to bring you, and you're good.
that's right. Not everybody has a driver and a butler, but if we
Yeah.
did, then yeah, it would be easy. But yeah, it's definitely worth saving up for. It is like I mean, it's really hard to explain, but
I would say it's so much fun that I would go even if I couldn't skate.
yeah, I think I would too. Yeah, absolutely agree. It is
Jacob
just
Barnes did that. So
Jacob Barnes did that this year.
Clearly possible.
Yeah,
It-
just to go and hang out is amazing.
It is being
It really
with
would be.
people who are your friends,
Mhm.
that you've never met. And you might not even have ever talked to, but everybody there wants to meet you. Everybody there wants to skate with you. And that is not, you're never going to get that anywhere else. Like it's happiness, and it's really hard to explain, but it's just this perfect little world that we create for the weekend.
It's like going to like a contest, but without the pressure of a contest.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
love,
would agree with that.
I love going to like these big contests, but then you have like if you're not entering, then it's not as fun
Right.
because you can't skate.
Yeah, you just sit and
So-
watch.
Yeah, so it's like going to a contest, but you can skate because there's no contest. It's just hanging out. You just know there's going to be people skating.
And
Does
they're
that
going to be
make sense?
happy. They're going to be happy too.
It does.
Everybody's
Yeah.
there. Like I used to go to Disneyland when I was living in Southern California, and it wasn't. I mean, I love Disney, but it's like it wasn't to go on rides or anything like that. It was just to escape Orange County and go to a place where everybody is trying to have a good time. Like you can escape reality for a weekend. Everybody at Woodward is trying to have a good time,
Mhm.
and you can be part of that. That's very rare. With
It's
wheels on
just-
your feet,
It's just fun.
it's fun.
It's
All
just
right.
fun.
Other events. So we can go to wheels. We talked about frames. Were there any other frames that we need to talk about?
Maybe the Flux because it's on the list, but we talked about them a fair amount
Yeah. Do you
last
have any?
episode.
You don't have any Trinity boots, do you, Shred?
No.
Do you have any 165s?
No. The biggest wheels I got are the 110
On Trimax.
Trimax, yeah.
Okay. Have you seen the Flex? The Flex frame?
Is that the Wish?
It is not. So the Wish is the OY3X, pronounced
Okay, see,
OY3X.
all right. I didn't know if that's what you were pronouncing, flux. I was, you know how Wish is with the spellings. I was like,
You are
is he getting
absolutely right.
flux out of OY3X?
You know what?
'Cause
It's funny because it's true.
I've never heard of the flux frame, so
Yeah, no, it's not that one. So the OY3X is the aluminum frame that Cletus designed for the reverse phrase skates. Was that what it was called, Ben?
I believe he mentioned that he was making that for reverse. Yeah.
That's what I thought. We had him on to talk about it. It's a 3-wheel frame. It's either 100s, 125s, I think. Designed for either of those two. They're not out yet. Hopefully they'll be out this year. I think all of Cletus's cash flow is set up in the medium frames right now, but there is a big wheel frame on the horizon that will be available someday. It is pronounced OY3X as far as I know. The Flux frame is a Trinity frame. So Trinity is the other mounting standard. So there's the UFS standard that we're all familiar with. The majority of free skates are 165. So UFS is 167 millimeters from bolt to bolt. The standard is 165, but it also has a raised heel. So if you look at a Majestic 12 without the sole plate, you can see that the heel is a lot higher than the foot. It gives you that forward lean, kind of like a hockey skate. That's the standard that most free skates have, and that's a 165 mount. Power Slide came out with a Trinity mount. And the Trinity mount is a similar concept to the 165. It is a raised heel, so you have that forward lean built in, but it has 3 mounting points. The rear mounting point is in the middle, and the front mounting points are on the outsides of the wheels. So it's kind of like the rivets on a hockey skate, and then the rear bolt is in the middle, just like UFS. The
okay.
reason for that is power transfer. So if you're skating fast and you're pushing with your toes, you want that bolt a little further out so that you have like the balance and the physics and whatever give you more. I don't know. I honestly, I think it's a lot of marketing. What's really cool about it though is that you don't have to worry about this UFS bolt getting in the way. You can lower the frame a lot so that it can be a lower ride than if you were using the traditional 165. The reason why we bring it up is that Kaiser came out with a Flux frame. Kaiser, the skate company, the frame company that is the USD version of Ground Control, I guess. The in-house aggressive frame. They came out with this Flux frame. This Flux frame is either flat 4x90 or 3x100. It is a Trinity mount. It is not UFS. It's Trinity mount. And how I was saying that it has a raised heel in the back, it has its own little sole plate kind of thing. It's like this sole fin that sticks out in the back that creates a flat sole. So you'll be doing sole grinds below the top of the frame. It's a really weird concept to try to explain over audio. I'll put some links in there. You'll see Nick Lomax destroying it on these frames, but it is like a weird hybrid between free skating and a little bit of aggressive. Like, I don't know if like literal urban skating where it's the hybrid of aggressive and free skate. This is taking it way too seriously, like providing a soul grind area, like versus, people who were doing like soul grinds on their Sebas that weren't supposed to on the Wizards or whatever. Like this is a serious, I don't know. I have a pair. So I got a pair of the Zooms. The Zooms are the sway, but the rec side of them, and the Zoom have an adapter plate that convert your Zoom into a Trinity mount. And I have the 80 millimeter Trinity frames, and I have a pair of these Flux frames. I will send you a picture as soon as I get them set up so that you can see
I'm
them.
actually looking at them right now.
It is a very curious use case.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I always hesitate to pass judgment until I skate a product, right? If it looks weird, that doesn't mean that it skates weird. Form over, or a function, for me, function over form, right? It has to look good, but if it works really well, I'm the first to, recommend it. A 4x90 is really curious. Like they usually make 4x80, and then Wizards are like 4x100. The K2 R100 is 4x100. Usually 90 is limited to like 3x90 if they want for smaller sized feet on like a slalom skate. This is a 4x90. Rollerblade used to make a 4x90, and there's a few other skates out there that go 4x90, but it's fairly rare to find a 4x90 frame. This is not only 4x90, but it's 3x100, which is also super rare. And both of them seem like really good combinations, but it sure is weird looking.
It is an interesting concept. I'm very curious to see what the next iteration is, or how well this one does. But it's a cool idea. I've said time and time again, I like the 4x90 frame setup.
Mm-hmm.
The closest I can get to now are the R100s.
Yep.
So I'm fine with that.
Knowing Kaiser, though, I mean, there isn't going to be an iteration, right? I mean, this is it. Like,
Probably, yeah. I mean, unless it's a fluid or a fluid. I
yeah,
mean, I don't think we're going to see another version, because I was going to say even the slimlines, but we haven't seen a slimline 2 in a long time, and it
no.
hasn't been shipped again in a long time.
Well,
So
and as Kyle is doing, and again, this is probably an advantage to a smaller, a single dude designing everything. As Kyle is doing progressing H block designs, you would expect to see an Element 2 H block. The H block is replaceable, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, like, I don't know. You couldn't have made that frame. It's not like it's cast. It has to be extruded aluminum. It has to be made, and then there has to be an H block that gets maybe not replaceable, but as a second piece. Like replaceable is a weird word because you don't actually replace that H block. But what if you could replace that H block with something with a different groove that was made out of UHMW or injection molded or something like that? Like then it would open up that Element 2 for a completely different market. Right now, it's
Mm-hmm.
very limited to park skating. If it were more responsive, but with a, you know, plastic H block, you could skate them on street.
Mm. Instead, they made these tall frames with a weird sole plate
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that has no H block.
Zero H blocks. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. And again, I questioned the use case for urban. Were you around when power blading was a thing?
I mean, I know the term.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference between that and mushroom blading is, but
Got it. So mushroom blading is more on. I mean, it's hard to put. I don't want to be the guy that creates the names, right?
it's
Yeah.
it's
Mush,
what Todd, Joey, and Leon do.
yes. Mushroom blading is more about edge control and going fast and doing big gaps and slides. Power blading was when I think of power blading, I think of the Kaiser Arrow. Did you ever see the Kaiser Arrow frames?
I believe so. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
They are very similar to your Elements. I think it's the same extrusion. So it's an aluminum frame, but it's a flat 80, and there is a slider. So it's a plastic slider that mounts on the side of the frame. So
Mm-hmm.
you could do really, really fast skate with 80 millimeter wheels like you're a rec skater, and then you do a Machio, like super fast. And that's that's it. That's really, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
power blading.
yeah, that's power blading, and that was the thing. Like they were just trying to see what else they could do with skating, and they called it power blading, and they were like, "We're gonna do aggressive, but we're gonna do big wheel aggressive," and it's like, cool, like try it, and they tried it, and it didn't go over super well. I don't know that the Aeon 80 is a power blade setup, but it's kind of like the contemporary version, I think, of power blading. Mushroom blading is different. Mushroom blading is more about footwork, and you could go slow and do mushroom blading, but you wouldn't go slow and do power blading. There's no power in that.
No, I would never do that.
No. And that's where I don't know where these frames are, right? These frames are urban, but they're kind of like power blading. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna skate really fast and do lots of machios with them and just see what they're all about. It's gotta let it dry out here. It's too wet.
That does sound like a good time though. It's getting really fast and doing a bunch of machios.
That's what I do best.
What's next for Compass?
What's next for Compass? Working on this.
125s?
No. So Compass
I know.
launched this year. Super excited. Awesome support this year. It's hard to create a new company, and Compass is my attempt of doing big wheels. I think that Compass was so for me. I brought back 50/50, and I was super excited about doing grinder blading and aggressive and everything. But for me personally, I also really enjoyed big wheels, and I liked skating Trimax, and I liked skating on the trails, and I liked skating, hundreds and 110s. And I didn't see where that fit into 50/50, but I knew that I wanted to explore it more and I wanted to learn more about wheels. So started Compass that specializes in big wheels. And, our first wheels were the 72s and the hundreds. 72s for the wish frames that I loved at the time. I was skating wish frames with undercover wheels on the inside, and I don't know what I was skating, Go Projects on the outside. And I was like, you know what? There's not a lot of good 72s out there. And the 72s that are out there aren't really, they're not from skate companies. They're from the big guys because they were
Mm-hmm.
designed for rec. And I was like, I could make a 72, I bet. And I could do it in a way that makes sense for me. So I looked for a big core so that it would give you a good response. Started with the 85s, and then, Guy Crawford skated them and said, what would be cool is if you made them a little harder. And I was like, that would be cool. What if we made that your signature wheel? And he was cool with that. So we were able to release a wheel for Guy Crawford, who's a really great friend and a great skater, at 7288. So it's a little bit harder than what a recreational wheel would be, which is usually around 85. But it's perfect for a wish frame. It pairs really nicely with our Stefan Brando 50/50 wheels, which are 60 millimeter 60. Also pairs really nicely with the Shredpool wheels, which are 60 millimeter 90 as well. Are they 90 or 91?
They're 90. The new ones, I believe, are 89.
89. So very similar though. Not
Yeah.
super hard, but hard enough. Really good profile though, and I wanted to make sure the 72s worked really well for Wish. It was self-serving. It was like, what do I
Mm-hmm.
skate? And it's like, well, I
Right.
like skating the Trimax. Let me get some hundreds because I like skating hundreds more than 110s. I feel like the hundreds give me a little bit more acceleration. And then I was like, I skate my Wish frames. I want to make a wheel for the Wish frame. Here's a 72, and I really like them. Compass is a weird company because as I've seen with sales, so Christmas was pretty good, but it's been pretty dry as it got wet. So Compass is a go out and skate big wheels, and I haven't personally skated big wheels since October, and
Mhm.
it totally makes sense because every weekend if it's not raining, the trail is wet. So it's like, well, I can't really go out and skate. And a lot of the country is either, too cold to go out and skate. They'll either do skate park for a little bit or they'll go indoors, or it's just not skating weather. So I think Compass, really interestingly, is going to be a spring, summer, a little bit of fall company. We do have some new products in store for spring. Might slip to summer. Just depends on how cash flow goes. But it's going to continue to be one of those. For me, I think it's going to be continue to be one of those companies that I just continue to experiment with because I don't know a ton about big wheeling. I don't know a ton about what makes a really good wheel and what size people really want. Like we made 80 millimeter wheels, and I realized quickly that everybody makes an 80 millimeter wheel, so it's hard to compete if you're going to
Mhm.
have a 80 millimeter wheel that's a high quality, with people who will sell 80 millimeter wheels that are maybe not as high quality but a lot cheaper,
Hmm.
and that's a difficult market to be in. I think 72s were a lot easier because there weren't a ton of 72s out there, and definitely weren't a lot of 72s that were designed for the way that I skate. And I know 72s. Same with hundreds. The hundreds sell really well, and I know hundreds. But those are the two sweet spot sizes for me, and those are the two wheels that I really want to focus on for next year. We'll continue to make wheels as they run out, but I think those two wheels are the main sizes and hardnesses for Compass. I just hope that it dries up so that I can go out and skate more. I have not been able to skate big wheels again in months, and I don't see myself doing it again. I mean, it's raining right now, so I probably won't be able to skate this weekend unless I'm skating in the rain, and it's not fun. You see, Powerslide makes those rain torrent wheels. I mean, I guess there's a way to do it. I don't know what they're putting in that urethane to make them work in rain, but for me, like skating in rain just isn't fun. Like you just get cold and your bearings get destroyed, and it's just
Ruined,
yeah,
yes.
it's not worth doing.
Yeah, I would rather not ruin my bearings.
Anyway, so that's Compass. You know, it's been a great journey. I'm excited for the future. It's a completely different market than I'm used to. I
Mm.
think I know aggressive really well, and I know what aggressive skaters want. And coming up with wheels for 50/50 was easy because I knew the frames that I liked, I knew the setups that I liked, I knew what as a skater I purchased, and I'm like, I'll just make those. I'll make a 58 that's designed for flat, and I'll make a 60 that's a rounded profile that I could skate anti-rocker. Like that was a really easy, like, okay. So that's done. Like all I needed to do was find a really good factory that could make wheels and figure out the right sizes and the right colors, and done with it. Compass is different, and I'm going to continue experimenting and learning. But yeah, look for more from Compass this year. Nothing to announce yet, but I'm
I've
excited about it.
definitely been digging them. I both the versions of the 72. The
Oh yeah, I
what
gave
is
you
it?
the 85s, didn't I? I thought I only gave you
Yeah,
the 88s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I had one of each. What were the other ones called? The
The
Durham.
Durham, yeah.
Yeah, I like those, and then the guys have been holding up real well too. So
They're good wheels. Wheels,
yes,
outside wheels for wish frames, just like wish frames, don't wear very quickly.
right,
I still have the 72 Go projects that I had from the beginning, and they look clean as new. They're just, again, I think the way that those frames wear, the way that, flat, if you're skating flat, it is a long wear. Like you can invest in a flat setup and you're going to spend a little bit more, but you're going to have quality wheels for a little bit longer. Yeah, thanks for the support. It's been cool to see you skating them. Compass is, again, it's a fun company for me because it's just something that I'm learning about, and I
hmm
can take little risks, and my minimums are because I can bulk the orders. I get the Compass wheels done at the same factory as 50/50, so I can
hmm
piggyback those orders. So I don't have to spend a ton of money on like if I was just doing Compass, it would be difficult to pay for the shipping and the production and everything, but I can piggyback the
right,
50/50 production and shipping. So I'm able to bring them in and just, few hundred wheels here, a few hundred wheels there, and just kind of test things, see what
right.
works, see what people like. Yeah, I love experimenting with this stuff. I mean, there's a reason why I try all the different skates. I love just, even if they're not for me, I love just knowing what works and what doesn't, and sending them to people and saying, what do you think of this? Like, does this work good for you? Like, I'm feeling this. What do you think about this? It's a fun hobby. Anyway, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's fun. I'm not the only one with wheels though. So Mr. Shred had two wheels released this year, or at least went on order this year. The first wheels, I was very privileged to get in on the pre-orders with. Your 6090 was the first one, right?
Yep,
And that was
correct.
red. How did that all come about? So I know you'd been skating with the Conjure Boys for a while. I remember a video of you putting on the deodorant wax. Uh, some a few years ago. Was that just like a natural, like, hey, we want to do a wheel? Would you want to do it? Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, I mean, it all did start with the wax, and they just thought it'd be fun to put together a signature
Hmm.
package, and you could put a new little Shredpool design on it, and then make it red and whatever.
Hmm.
And then they said they were gonna be getting into wheels, and so they did the flats.
Hmm.
And they said if these do well, then we're gonna do a shred pool wheel because it would be awesome to have
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like, like, of course,
Was
but
it?
yeah, no,
I mean, it must have been pretty. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, with you being able to build your persona on the YouTube and on the social and everything, like you don't have the traditional background of getting the signature wheel. You know what I mean?
right.
Like you've worked, you've
I'm
worked.
an I'm I'm an honorary doctorate,
Yeah, you're an other. Yeah, I
and
think
I'm well aware of that.
it's 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 crazy, and I will argue that you're like, I mean, your wheels sell fast. Like I know that this V2 sold out within days, like,
Yeah,
and it was gone.
Yeah, they sold real fast.
Um,
yeah. No, just trying to have fun, and I think it. I don't know. Maybe it rubs off on people. I don't know.
I think it does. I think you
Yeah.
nailed it. I think you don't take yourself too seriously. I think the graphics, even I mean, the second one is pretty ridiculous, but the first one was even ridiculous. Um,
Uh, I mean, I guess I could give you a little backstory
yeah,
on that. It was
please.
it was even more ridiculous, the original design.
Oh no
I
way.
have one of those. I
Um,
have one of those wheels.
oh, what do you mean?
Rob gave me one.
I don't think they were ever made.
He has a sample of one that's a different. I have a different graphic than what was in production.
Wait, like a completely different graphic?
Yeah, it's not like absurdly different, but it has different shit on it. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to see that. My original, like, coming up with the idea. Obviously, like, we're trying to avoid being sued by anybody.
Yeah, nobody.
So
Yeah, nobody needs
so
to sue
so
anybody.
I'm trying to think of ideas that would be on character but not be
Right.
in trouble
Right.
for using.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my very first thing was like, I don't know, I think it's a big deal to be even offered the chance to have a wheel.
Mm,
So like I thought it'd be kind of funny to be like, I don't even care about it type of thing.
sure.
So the first design was just gonna say Shredpool wheel design on it on the piece of paper. Like that's the best I
Right.
even cared to come up with,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I thought it was pretty funny. But we were concerned that maybe it wasn't designed enough
Yeah.
to
Maybe cus-
to be more
customers
than
wouldn't get the joke.
yeah, wouldn't be enough to have people buy it. But
No.
so yeah, then we came up with some stuff that you would just doodle when you're bored type of thing, and
Hmm.
so it's like a second version of the lazy logo.
Who did the art? Were you involved with that? I know that you do a lot of the art for your tattooing, right? Or no?
Yeah, no, I do, a lot of drawing and stuff like that for work and whatnot. But
Mhm.
Shez Designs
Okay.
is the one who helped us with actually a lot of the graphics since that wheel.
Hmm.
He's really good at like he's really quick with whipping that stuff up. So we'd be going back and forth in like a chat, just like coming up with the next version until we got the final thing. So
Very cool.
it's definitely a group effort.
And then, so after that wheel came out, I want to
Mhm.
say it sold pretty quickly, but definitely not overnight. There was a
Right.
Sean Smith wheel, and
Yes.
that wheel was the same graphic designer.
Yes.
Okay, um, and that I have some of those wheels. That was a really great wheel as well. That was a very like comic book style, like how would you describe it?
Yeah, it was a
Almost
like
Art Deco.
it was kind of like a old like horror
Horror.
type
That's right. Yeah.
comic. Yeah.
Right. Right. Um, and then the flats came out at the same time, right? Both of those, or the mini flats came out at the same time.
I believe the mini flats were not long after
Similar,
that.
similar timing. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And those were the black with purple core, I think.
yeah, black with purple core with
Right.
the clairvoyant type
Yes.
design. Yep.
Yes. So then they came out with the Cosmics, which have you skated those? Or I mean, you wouldn't really skate them in Wish, I guess.
Yeah, I had tried them out a little bit in some what are they called? The Create CRS frames,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
but they were a little too small for how wide those frames are. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I ended up loaning them. Well, I guess giving them to Sasha Sims to try them out because he was looking to try out the new ones. But
Oh, I saw
yeah,
him. I saw his video
skating on
review.
the ice or something.
No, it was. I don't know if it was on the YouTube or what, but he was talking about how he bent his Sola frame. Did you see that video?
Oh no, I think I saw he posted a video about a year later in the Sola frames,
Yes, that's it.
but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, so there's a slight bend in his Sola frame, which is not at all surprising the way that he skates,
Right,
and anti-rocker, but and no H block, but
right.
I mean, there's a
I
lot of
think I think the H block might be part of the issue there.
there's a few things that he's taking liberties with.
Wait, he wasn't skating those with H blocks?
No,
No,
he would just like take it off and skate without an H block because it was a little deeper. And I think he eventually kind of Jimmy rigged his own in there.
yeah,
So, but it's still obviously not as supportive as having the metal H block in
he
there. But
he has nobody else
True.
to blame but himself. But
yes,
and he says as much. He says as much in the video that if I were to skate them the way that Kyle recommends me skating them, I wouldn't have done this. And
right,
absolutely, I mean the frames aren't going to bend if you skate them normally. If you do all the things that he did, then there's less support. So it's there's a weak spot, and he found it.
also he does like rip like
Yes,
yes, like he's one of those guys I'm surprised I never knew before with like the last couple of years. Like I think he's from this area, like New Hampshire or something.
hmm
So I'm just one of those names that I'm like, how did I not know you?
yeah. That's the internet, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's everywhere. The internet's everywhere. He also is skating Cosmics Anti-Rocker, which I highly recommend against doing. I think that those wheels are amazing for flat. If you have Solas, same with the 58s. They're just not designed for skating anti-rocker. They're designed for skating flat. I think the 58s are fine. I I I don't know. I think the right tool for the job, like Ben says, get yourself some Shredpools. It's 60 mil rounded profile. I think that's an anti-rocker profile. I think those bullety style profiles aren't great for skating flat, or skating anti, but that's just me.
Mm.
So those came out, and then when they sold out very quickly, it seems like everything that Conjure's pulling out is selling out really quickly. I don't know the numbers that they're bringing in, but I love to see the support that they're getting because they're not in every shop. They're in Roller Warehouse and a bunch of shops, I'm sure, but
Hmm.
it's not like Undercover or like Eulogy or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's great to see the support, and like we're talking about the little guys, like they are the little guys. Like it's Rob and Sean trying to make things happen. Definitely deserving your support if you have options. Same goes for Sick Urethane with Kevin and AJ with Dead. Like support the guys trying to get things done. I think it's great. Your second wheel, then 2 wheels in a year. That's kind of unheard of. I guess because your first one sold out so quickly, and they wanted another 60. Where did the graphic idea come from for your second wheel?
Um, well, Shez actually, his real name's Brian Bramley, and I think Sean were throwing around some ideas with more traditional Deadpool, fantasy stuff, like with the unicorns and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think they just kind of, showed me some stuff, and then again, we just kind of kept tweaking it until it was something I thought was ready.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. They've been delayed a few times because I guess the shop that's pouring them has moved states.
Yeah.
And I don't think we were aware of that when we ordered it.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
I thought that move had been done for a while.
I think they're just so backed up from it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes more sense.
I know with me placing wheel orders, there's like a 30-day. Depends. Like you have to get in the queue for doing production, and
Right.
they have a lot of different companies placing orders. Of course, I know that Conjure gets theirs done at the same place that Dead and Sick and Undercover and a bunch of other companies get theirs done. I know that factory was based in Huntington Beach, California. They moved to Austin or Houston,
Yeah, right outside of Austin.
right outside of Austin in Texas.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine moving all of the things that they had in Huntington Beach. It's not like they opened a second office. They moved. So
Right.
packing up the kilns, packing up all of the machines, all of the molds, all of the materials, all of the equipment and everything. Getting it over to Texas, setting things up. It's not like people stopped placing orders. So anything that they typically said, oh, we can deliver in 45 days or something like that, it's 45 days plus the amount of time that it took them to get from California to Texas, plus to set up their equipment, plus to get themselves up and running again. Plus, I'm sure that in that time there were changes in things because it was delayed, and it's like, all right, well, we need this many wheels now, or I mean, things happen. There's going to be a little bit of time for them to settle it out. I know that they moved in the end of summer, so they're probably just backlogged, trying to get caught up. I don't know when they're supposed to be here, but I know that they're soon. I know that the order's been placed, and I know that they already sold out. I wonder if they can order more now. I don't know. It would be interesting to get an email out to get some more of them, but
No comment.
yeah. Well, I hope that it comes through. I hope that there's another hit on the horizon, because I think Conjure's doing something different. If you look at Undercover, they always have really nice wheel graphics. I love the use of 3-color prints. It's 50/50. Usually we've only been doing it for a year, but we usually just have a 2-color print, and it's usually just a very clean design. I would call a I don't know. It's just a clean style design. Compass wheel or Conjure wheels are more like a piece of art on your wheel, and every one of them is a very unique style. As it should be as a wheel company, I think. It should be, multiple releases throughout the year, small orders, small runs, and experiment. Different colors, different graphics, come up with different profiles and things like that. I think that is what a wheel company should do, and I think that's what Undercover does really well. I haven't liked the recent Undercover graphics. I think that they did some really cool ones in the past, but I'm not a huge fan of the foodie line. I don't really understand that. And before then, I had the Lomax ones that was like a clown that was really scary, and I was like, I don't understand that one. I personally always preferred the Dead designs, where it's just a really clean. I like to look at the wheel, not the graphic. But you guys have taken it in a completely different direction, where it's the graphic sells the wheel versus the profile versus the urethane versus anything else. Even though those are great, this
Right.
graphic is I would be afraid to skate them because I don't want to get them destroyed because I love the graphics so
I
much.
was gonna say I know a few people just bought them just to hang them on the wall. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Very unique. So
So Rob had shown me like a sneak peek of what the wheel was basically going to look like when at Woodward.
Hmm.
I was so excited. Like I was like, you're gonna sell out of that so fast, unbelievable.
Hmm.
Like the people already like Shredpool, and he's gonna come up with a pink 60 mil wheel. It's gonna sell out in no time. Like even dudes are gonna buy it for their girlfriends and wives. Just be like, look at this cool shit that I bought. I bought it quote unquote for you. So when you don't use it in 3 weeks and I need new wheels, I'll just take them.
like a bowling ball named Homer.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was totally on board for it. I don't remember if it was my idea or their idea to go with a pink,
Mm,
but I don't know. There's not much out there that color, so
no, no. What is
yeah.
their Blade Club? I think they have a pink wheel, but I don't know where you can get those. I think they're only in the UK, or maybe in Japan. I think I've seen them, but I
I
think
didn't
that's
even
about it.
know they made wheels.
Yeah, that was I oh, there's some history. You'll have to look at some old Blade Club graphics if you want to talk about graphics.
Oh, they had some really weird ones,
They had
didn't
some
they?
really bad ones. Yeah, some that I wouldn't show my kids.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of wheels, so congratulations, Shred, on all the success. You're amazing. Uh,
and you,
there
and
are
you.
there are other wheels. So this has been a big wheels year, and I don't remember. We've done this like year-end wrap-up. Um, this is our third one. We had Rob on the first year, we had Joey on the second year. Only getting better with Shred this year. We never really talked about wheels in the past. I think we had Rob on, and Rob didn't even have the flats at the time. So there were really only a few wheel companies. I think Sick was doing its thing. I think Eulogy, Undercover were still doing their thing. I think Dead was doing their thing, but really, what else was there back then?
Mm,
There were a few smaller companies. This year, I guess, maybe just this year, I've been more tuned into it, maybe because I'm more in the market. But there's been a few wheel companies come out this year. So Red Eye is probably the one that I think about the most because it's, one of the owners is John Fromm, who's a good friend. He and, oh God, what's his name? Buck? Yeah, Buck, right? I only met him once.
yeah.
Buck. So he and Buck started this company. He and Buck had known each other for a long time back in Florida. They started Red Eye. Must have been March or so. It was beginning of this year. With a full line of wheels, 55s up to 68s, I think. Killer
I think so.
team,
Yeah.
killer team, pro model wheels. I mean, they really just kind of came in guns blazing with all the different sizes and models. As far as I know, they're good. I think they're getting poured at La Beta, which is a quality wheel company. We tested La Beta wheels and they were great. We had some communication problems trying to get a hold of La Beta after we got samples and got the initial, pricing and everything, and then they wouldn't get back to us. So I was like, all right, well, I guess if this is an indication of how it's going to go, I might not want to work with them. But they were able to obviously make it work. So it's great to see. As far as I've heard, the wheels are good. I know that they have some new ones coming out. They have the Chris Farmer wheel, which was a big change this year, leaving Dead to go to Red Eye. He has a 57 millimeter wheel, which is purple. Different purple than the Cosmic wheel, but it's purple still the same. And then there's a Carriers wheel, I think. Is that a 60 mil wheel? Have you seen that Carriers wheel?
Is that the
It's
one
just
that looks like
I think it's
a
black.
ticket type thing?
No, I think those are most of the red eye. This is the one that they did with the Carrier's shop. It's like a shop wheel. I don't know if it's sold only at Carrier's or if it's sold everywhere. It's kind of weird, like having a shop specific wheel. I don't know that that's been done before. I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't know that I would do a shop specific wheel as a company.
Well, Long did one for the Oak City wheel,
Yeah, but
and then he has
But he,
Apex.
he owns that company. That's the
right.
thing.
Yeah, well,
It's
his the shop wheel wasn't labeled as an Apex wheel. It was
no
labeled as the
Oak
shop
City.
wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird that, and I don't think that's a problem. But I don't think Roller Warehouse would ever buy an Oak City wheel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for Oak City to try to sell to Roller Warehouse after making a wheel for their competing shop is just it's again I don't think it's done. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I don't know that it is something that I would do, but if they have a really good relationship with a skate shop and they said, "Hey, I want a specific wheel in this size, do you want to partner up with me?" I don't know what I would say. I've never been in that situation. Very curious though. Ultimately, I'm just happy that there's more wheel companies out there. It's good to see, Conjure coming up. I'm stoked to be part of that conversation. It's good to see Red Eye coming up. Probably the biggest one that I see more often is the famous wheels.
Mhm.
Have you guys ever skated famous wheels?
No.
No.
Me either. And I don't know. I don't really know what to think about them. So famous is a French company. They have a bunch of different wheels for scooters. I think they recently opened up a line of inline wheels. They specialize in aluminum core wheels. So they'll have an aluminum core like the scooter wheels would have, but then they have polyurethane that's poured for the tread for the wheel part. Um, Super interesting. So not only is that a popular wheel that I see a lot on blade setups and stuff, but both Joe Atkinson and CJ Wellsmore are skating them now.
So someone had made mention of that specifically on Facebook today.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's today or yesterday or whatever, but and they said like, does this mark the end of Go Project?
right,
And then someone else had pointed out, it's like, well, CJ and Joe really only skate those for competition type stuff,
right.
which makes sense. I mean, I've seen plenty of pictures of Joe skating, famous wheels in the Manly Bowl.
Right.
So fuck that idea, I guess.
Well, it's the same. It's my same argument with the Sola frames. If you are looking for the fastest, stiffest, most responsive setup, then you can't go wrong with a full aluminum kit, right? Get some
Exactly.
CJ Sebas with a carbon sole and mount some aluminum friggin' Sola frames on there with 60 millimeter aluminum wheels. Like, you're going to go really fast. And if they're competing in these feast competitions where going really fast means an extra $1,000 paycheck for getting a higher place, like whatever, like skate your wheels, skate your wheels. Like, you're not going to be
Yeah.
able to go that fast with a Go project or with a 50/50 or with a Conjure or with anything. Like, those are really fast wheels. They're not for everyone. They're very specific for skate park, and they tell you don't skate these on street because there's just not enough urethane. It's like like a racing tire. There's a very, very thin strip of tread that you're supposed to skate on. If you skate on the street, you will wear through that really quickly and you'll get to the aluminum and you'll break them. So this is for skating bowls, cement bowls, skating wood parks, like a very specific use case. But they sure are killing them, and I see a lot of them out there on blade setups and Instagrams and things like that.
Yeah, I see them a lot too.
Super curious. I didn't see that coming. I'm not at all interested in trying them. I think that my knees need some 88A softness
Right?
to cushion me a little bit. But there's clearly a market for it, and it's great to see. We're getting pretty late on time. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about? Either of you? You
Um.
mentioned the Skate for Autism.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna bring it up. So, because Angie obviously puts in a lot of work. She ran the Lehigh Valley Bladers Skate for Autism this year, and it
Mm.
was a really fun event. It was just like a for fun 5K, and I believe she did a really good job of raising a good amount of money for autism, and she's definitely going to be doing it again next year. And I recommend people come out to Pennsylvania and do that.
We had her on maybe a month before the event and got a little bit of information on it. I'll put a link to that podcast in the show notes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so much respect for Angie. Everybody says, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had an event?" And again, like I said about having an idea and actually following through and implementing it and doing it,
Right.
like she did it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I'm just gonna make it happen. Um, that must have been a lot of work with all the organizing. Uh, getting in contact with the city, getting in contact with the parks department, getting T-shirts made, getting all of the things organized. Like she doesn't know what she's doing. Like she's making it up as she goes along, trying to figure it out. And it's
Yeah,
like I just want to make it happen.
Angie is one of those people that reminds me that I'm not as adult as I think I am. Like she's got her shit together, and she's just I don't know, she's just killing it.
No doubt.
And yeah, it's just like she just I don't know. I think even with her career, it's definitely like a real job and stuff. And I don't know. I think she knows exactly what she's doing.
I would definitely agree. It was great meeting her. Finally, we've chatted for a few years now on the Facebook and on the Slack and everything, and having her on the podcast was great. But I never actually got to meet her. Finally, getting to meet her at Woodward, and yeah, it's great to have good people like that
Mm-hmm.
in our sport who not only have good ideas but follow through with it. We have a lot of blader time situations in
Mm-hmm.
blading where
Yeah.
people say that they're going to do something and you never hear it, and I'm as guilty as anybody. Granted, I do follow through on a lot of the projects. It's just that I
Mm-hmm.
say that I'm going to do a lot more things than I have time to do. She's one of those people that is obviously able to follow through with what she puts out to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I hope we can have her on again next year to talk a little bit about how it went. When was it? Was it summer?
Oh, that's a good question. I am so bad at this stuff, but I'm going to try to look it up
Yeah.
real quick.
I
But
want
yeah,
to
it
say it was
sounds.
like June-ish or something.
I believe it was probably late summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I ended up we were out of town for it. Like as soon as I first heard about it, I wanted to do it and to participate. And then as we got closer to the date, that we had something else that was scheduled, so I wasn't able to go. But I definitely want to do it this year, for sure. And
Well,
hopefully not throw up after doing a 5K because I don't do many Ks at all.
yeah, it's not too bad on skates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's already got this next one planned for Saturday, May 23rd. So I don't know if it was in May as well.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Nice.
I would think early summer, simply because it's not so hot yet.
Right.
Yeah, May sounds great. Yeah, if you can get out there. If I remember correctly, there were two events. There was the 5K, and then there was just a fun skate at the skate park.
I believe she was going to do either a 10K or like a marathon skate, but I don't think she had enough people sign up, so it just turned into one event, which was just the fun 5K, and some people, took it seriously, but
Yeah, as some people do.
yeah, you always have one of those at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very cool. That's going to be one of the events that I'm looking forward to. Maybe we'll drive up. I don't know. My daughter loves taking road trips. I'd have to see if the schedule lines up. The 23rd, they might still be in school, but I'll see if I can figure something out. It's always nice to take road trips up north.
Mm.
Was not able to make it to, but I hear that they're going to do it again. Scott Crawford organized the Manly Blade Meet, which was a huge success. I don't know when you started skating, but when I started skating, Australia was one of the major hubs of skating. Like there was California, Southern California, and then there was Australia. And we just assumed that Australia was all the same, but it was really just like Sydney area, I think. And some of those skaters back in the days, Tom Fry, uh, John Pollard, Scott Crawford, and such, and then Sesamora and oh God, what's his name?
Matt
Matt
Salerno.
Salerno, Tim Ward, like
There
all
we
those
go.
guys, yeah. They all got together. I think everybody there actually got together, as well as John Julio flew down and Austin Paz flew down from Jump Street and had this event, which was just a bunch of old skaters getting together and having a great time. There were from the look of it, I think Dom West went as well and had put together a video. Um, just an amazing event. I mean, I think these sort of events are what blading really needs the most, and that's kind of we talked about a little bit what Blading Cup has turned into, as opposed to Winter Clash. Winter Clash being the big event in Europe in February. That are you going to Winter Clash, Shred? I don't.
I would love
Yeah, I
to.
don't think so.
I don't think it's gonna happen,
It's
but
a bit of a trip for us. Um,
I. I mean, I did notice that Amsterdam's got some cheap flights around that time, so
hmm,
you never know.
never know. In the from the shadows comes
Send me money.
yes.
No, I'm just
That
kidding.
would be fun. But buy some T-shirts.
Yes.
But the Winter Clash being like the high competition comp, where I feel like Feast is kind of the X Games for now. Feast is the big money where the big sponsors come out and they have the big ramps and everything.
Hmm.
Blading Cup is kind of was the big comp, but now is more of like the family cookout where you get the family reunion together, everybody in California who just wants to hang out and used to skate and wants to see their old friends and session a little bit.
Hmm.
This year, Arlo was skating, Aaron Feinberg was skating. It was Scott Crawford was there as well, John Julio, of course, and lots of the up and comers, of course, were skating. But the focus of it was really hang out. I feel like this event, the Manly Bowl, is kind of like the Australian version of Blading Cup,
Hmm.
but with even less competition. It's really just everybody just get together. Let's have a fun skate. Let's see each other. Like we don't see each other often enough. Let's all get together, and here's a good excuse for us to get together. If you have an opportunity to get out there, and if if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you have no excuse. You should go. If you're not, that's a bit of a flight. But if you have any desire to get down there, I know that Scotty's going to try to do it again this year. I don't know if there's an Instagram. Follow Scotty on the Instagram, and you'll get some information on it. But it is an amazing event. Just that feeling that you get at Woodward, where you're just surrounded by bladers and everybody's there to be happy. It's the same thing. It's going to be really great, and I mean, you're in Australia. Like, that's that's got to be an amazing trip, even if you don't skate. Just get down there and experience Australia. Any predictions for 2020? Anything big, small?
I
Anything?
bet you people will complain about stuff.
Interesting. That's
I
never
know
happened before.
I'm going out on a limb here,
Yeah,
but we will not have figured it out. We will complain that we didn't.
yeah. Yeah, that's never
And
happened before. We're always so like-minded. Everybody
yeah,
agrees on everything.
everybody love everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that now that Rollerblade launched the Danny Aldridge Pro Skate, that someone on the Power Slide umbrella or under the Power Slide umbrella will get a cross-branded like free skate type skate,
Hmm.
and I would suspect it'll probably end up being Nick Lomax.
You might be right. I think they've been using Nick a lot. One thing that I didn't touch about, we were talking about Angie, but we didn't really talk about the Blades thing this year. I feel like it's definitely been a huge year for women in skating. Not only from the amount of women showing up, if you look at Woodward, there were double the amount of people, the amount of women as last year. If you looked at Blading Cup, amazing attendance by women competitors, but started the year with the Loca skate, which was a Razor's shift that was designed with women in mind. So a smaller shell, honestly, not a ton of difference that I could tell. It's not like they had. I mean, women's feet are very similar to men's feet, just a little smaller sometimes. But it's nice that they had a smaller shell, and it was marketed towards women. And then towards the end of the year, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Mary Munoz announced that she got a
A
pro
Celtic,
Caltech frame,
Celt, yeah,
which is
awesome.
huge. Yeah.
I was just gonna say maybe prediction for a next woman's pro boot.
I was just going to say, I want to say there's going to be a lot of focus on women's skating next year in 2020. And I think Mary is going to be, right in the front of it. She's amazing skater. There are lots of amazing skaters, but I think Mary is an amazing skater. And she's in that power slide umbrella and gets featured a lot. So Nick Lomax is definitely a good pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Mary gets something from Power Slide Umbrella this year.
That'd be really cool for her.
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know if it would be a carbon, or if it would be a next, or a swell or something like that. But I could see something happening, and I could see them really pushing her because I mean she's incredible.
I agree.
She really is. She's a machine. Like she's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And she's progressively getting bigger and bigger with the stuff she does too. Like
Oh, no doubt.
she never really was timid, but like you could see her confidence growing more and more. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What do we think about some of the former pro riders for Rossies that are going to happen this year?
Former pro riders for Rossies. What do you mean?
Like Martin Danning.
Oh, what's going to happen
Who
with
else?
Martin? Oh,
Yeah, there was a couple people that left.
I don't know. I mean,
There's
Joe left.
well, and
Of
Joe,
course.
yeah.
I don't think Joe is going to end up anywhere. I think that Joe will be Team Solomon for life. I don't see him fitting in on them, right? I think that them team
No.
is super stacked, and they're a very specific style of skater. I don't know that Joe fits into that mold. He's got the skills,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's just it's a different vibe. I don't know that he fit in on Rossi's. I don't really know Joe personality that well. You know what I mean? I see his skating, but I've never really, I don't think I've ever heard him talk. So I don't know what he's like.
Did you watch State of the Art on mute?
I don't know that I've seen State of the Art.
It's a good one. He was in there doing a little bit of personality type stuff.
Okay, I'll have to watch
and
it.
He's in a lot of the what's the series of videos with Cayenne, the Cayenne Project. He's in a lot of those videos.
Yeah, sure. Cayenne and Del Fondio and all that. Yeah, I've definitely seen Joe. The problem with those is that there's a lot of people, and you don't get to see him specifically. But yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you look at those guys, like if that's his crew, right? Is it USD that he goes to?
He, it seems to make sense that they should pursue him
Yeah.
because, but at the same time, like he's so comfortable in his Solomon stuff right now that it would be very difficult for someone to say like, hey, like why don't you come and skate our skates? And nope, they're not as comfortable as what I would have now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that there's probably a price tag that they would need to hit. See, doesn't that seem why he left to begin with?
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding was that price tag was going to go down,
Gotcha.
but he was under the
Yeah.
impression that it was going to stay the same or possibly even increase. After he got his Pro Boot released. So
maybe maybe not the number itself, but the fact that it was going to go down after what he did for them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, or at least not even be entertained of a pay raise. I think that was my understanding of it, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But it definitely had to do with money, which I understand.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays solo for the year. I don't see him. If anyone, I think he would go to USD, but I think you're right. I think they would have to pay him, right? And I don't know that they would, at least at that level that he rightfully deserves. Like the guy's winning every competition. Like if you're looking for a comp skater and getting into that market, like USD doesn't have a lot of those skaters. Like the ones that compete, like that's kind of Seba, which is weird, right? But like Feast has a lot of Seba influence. Um, who else? I mean, that's really the big, like if they're trying to get into that big stunts sort of Feast market, yeah, I don't know. There aren't a lot of options. I guess Roman. No, Roman. Yeah, Roman's in there. So sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I heard Joe's saving up to relaunch a line of Solomons. That's what I heard. That's what I just made up.
That would be awesome.
Okay, I was just like, wait, what?
Joe has the molds. That's why we can't find them. That's why we can't find them.
Yeah,
he's saving up for production run.
He buried them underneath that vert ramp that he just put into his backyard.
He hid clues in all his recent videos on how to find them.
Nobody would do that.
That's why he made that video blue, right? Because the Solomons were originally blue.
Oh, that's very true.
Yes, it's 100% true.
I hope you're right.
The original Solomons were blue.
Yes, good point. I hope you're right. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know.
I've never talked to him, so you never know.
That's true. I never heard him talk. So there's that.
Yeah.
There's always the chance that it might be true.
Right. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense, to be honest with you. But.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
I would agree with that.
Shred, thank you so much for being on. Super appreciate it. It's awesome, first of all, to have finally met you after chatting so much. That you came through Durham on your way to Chad's birthday was, first of all, going to Chad's birthday was incredible. That you did that. I think he's a very lucky kid who has so many amazing role models. Montre probably is more of a role model than you, just because he's closer. It has nothing to do with you as a person. It's just
a little bit
locals. But yeah, he's a super lucky kid. I am a super lucky kid to have Shredpool stop by on his way down to do a nice skating video with me. I had so much fun. I didn't know what to expect. It was everything that I had hoped for. And yeah, it was great. So I think that you had a great year. I again really appreciate you coming on. And looking forward to 2020. I think it's going to be a really big year for you. Big year for blading overall. I think the momentum that we have right now, we've just got to keep at it. Keep pushing out the good videos, the quality content, keep the community strong, keep the Woodward going, keep the Facebook silliness happening, and somebody's gonna figure out what's going on with the Solomon